Back-to-back carries. He's
It's
off to the
round two,
races
Mike.
again. Can he repeat?
Rose fumbles it, and Baltimore's going to run this back. You cannot be serious.
Going to take another deep shot. Diving catch, Mason Kirby. What?
That's the deflected away.
Oh!
Hey! What a catch! Stepping back, and he's down, but it's intercepted. The run for the first down away.
Vincent is on his way. Oh my goodness, it's an embarrassment of riches.
More, and he is to the house. An unreal play.
Oh, he got it.
Baltimore walks it off.
It's season 18. Welcome to the SFL, presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports. I'm Cameron Irvine, alongside my wonderful buddy, Mike St. Green, London wide receiver and SFL analyst. Good morning, good afternoon. Mike, we are happy to be here.
Cam, season 18 is upon us, and I can't be more happy to be back with you for now our third season together and back with our friends at Next Level Sports, man. I'm excited for this season to get started, and I'm very happy to be here. How
has the off-season treated you, my friend?
Cam, up in life, down in pounds, just getting, hibernating for the, during the off season and getting my battery recharged and ready to go for another exciting SFL season.
Well, we've got our 24 teams back. We've got 144 games on the schedule all season long. We're keeping you engaged in everything going on around the SFL, and here is what is going on today. We start with the defending champions hosting the London Knights, the only team to beat Baltimore last season. Later, you will see Ashley Jackson take on her former team, Arizona, taking on Tulsa. Tulsa got the #1 pick in the draft. Running back Douglas Brown. We'll have an interview with him at the half. Bonus coverage today includes LA Charleston, Sioux Falls, Louisiana. You'll see highlights of those games as it happens in real time. Mike, what do you think about the opening slate of games and getting this season started?
Yeah, Cam, what better way than to start the season with the defending champions, two-time champions, by the way, the Baltimore Vultures, going up against the London Knights, the only team that beat them all of last season. And, hey, let's run it back again this season to start this season off to see where these two teams stand. Both teams have great offenses, Cam. Arguably two of the best receiving cores in all of the SFL and two of the best quarterbacks in all of the SFL as well. That's pulling the trigger for both of these teams. MVP Jack Wigmore coming back for Baltimore, and of course London with the very controversial but great Johnny Pickler quarterbacking that team. But these teams are not all about just offense. Sir Ron Yates, the defensive lineman for Baltimore, defending Defensive Player of the Year from last season. Look for that great Baltimore defense to give Johnny Pickler trouble all day long.
You can watch all the games in the SFL all day long here on Next Level Sports, on our SFL YouTube channel later today, and on our SFL Twitch channel right now, or in about a half an hour for bonus coverage when Los Angeles and Charleston kicks off. We are ready for the season. How about you? Baltimore and London kicks us off, and it's coming up next. You're watching the Simulation Football League, presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports.
Next Level Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the Simulation Football League.
The curtain has risen and the stage is set for another season of the SFL. The Simulation Football League's 18th season starts at the same site where the last one ended, the newly christened Sports Gamers Online Stadium in Baltimore, where the reigning league champion Vultures opened their second title defense against the only team that was able to disrupt their bid for a perfect season, London Knights. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Maryland for the first game of the 18th season of the Simulation Football League, live on Next Level Sports. Alongside producer extraordinaire Cameron Irvine and Mike St. Green in the studio, our statisticians Justin Reside, Dwayne Schindler, and Anthony Anderson, and my partner, SFL Hall of Famer Eddie Gage. I'm Tim Hackett. Happy to have you with us. Eddie, the curtain has just risen, and we might just kick this season off with a real showstopper. Welcome to Season 18.
There's no doubt about it. SFL Nation, I know it's been a minute, but I got a voice y'all can't help but forget. Y'all know the drill. Look at your brothers to the left and right of you and say it along with me. What up, though, on me? What up, though, on 3? 1, 2, 3. What up, though? I don't know about you, Tim, but other than the Arizona game later on today, there isn't another city I'd rather be in today, but right here in Baltimore. Baltimore only lost one game last season, but it was versus these very own London Knights, who shocked all of the SFL world, defeating these Vultures, thereby for giving them a playoff spot for the first time in franchise history. Baltimore may house the best overall talent in the SFL, but as the saying goes, any given game day, if London can keep pace with the same energy they played with in Week 12 of last season, they are more than capable of sending shockwaves around the league once again today. Buckle up your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. It's about to get real out here, and Kickoff is next.
The Knights, the usurpers on the road, will kick off. Baltimore, the reigning champions, will receive. JT Delaney with the ball on the tee. Giovanni Bolt waits back deep. And for the first time in 2022, we are underway in the Simulation Football League. One of the best return men in league history. Giovanni Bolt takes it up to the 24, and that is where the reigning champs will start off. 1st and 10. Aerial coverage of today's game is brought to you by Dags Droneworks, aerial photography and videography services in New York State. Find them on Instagram at Dags Droneworks or visit their website, dagsdroneworks.com. Well, as Eddie said, this might be the most talented team in the SFL, the Baltimore Vultures. They are littered with superstars on both sides of the ball, including reigning league MVP quarterback Jack Wigmore, the southpaw, who will throw it out of the backfield here. First catch of the season for the sophomore tailback Jimmy Hazard, who makes a man miss and picks up a first down. Gain of 10 on the first play from scrimmage for the reigning champs.
Baltimore comes out swinging right out of the gate. Jimmy Hazard started the season off slow for these Vultures last season, but as the season progressed, he became a difference maker for this ball club and an additional threat.
Barely used him at all on the ground, as you can see down there. Second fewest carries, fourth fewest rushing yards, but an elite average 6 yards per carry. That was best in the league. Wigmore will throw it again. Near side, it's caught by the veteran wide receiver Daley Holder right to the 40-yard line. Diving over to make the tackle is Emmanuel Blackman, the third-year corner. Wigmore was fantastic last season. He has been really good since he took over midway through season 15 for Baltimore, a season in which they ultimately won the SFL championship, and he made it 2 titles in 3 seasons just a couple of months ago. First handoff of the season for Jimmy Hazard, and a gain of 6, another Baltimore first down. Tackle made by Jeff Gagne.
And Jimmy Hazard has to be thrilled at this point to be involved. 2 touches here early on in this ball game. As you said, he was used very little last season. So far today, he's become a focal point in this offense.
Let's tell you about the Baltimore Offense. For head coach and offensive coordinator Dr. Thomas Paterniti, the 2-time league champ. They have never had a losing season since they have joined the league. Wigmore to throw again, looking this way. It's caught right at the sticks. They'll give him 9. That's Mac Chima, a pair of standout wideouts on this team. Chima's one of them, alongside Ivory Irvin. Daley Holder is the third. A pair of tight ends now, the veteran Lloyd Graham Jr. and the rookie, their first-round pick, John Michael Suddeth. Tailback is Jimmy Hazard. Fullback T-Roy Gaines, the league veteran. You've already heard from the quarterback Jack Wigmore, and certainly we will be hearing from the place kicker Shark Tarkington, one of the best in the business. From the 45, the give to Hazard, and he is stuffed at the line. Best play defensively so far from London, and the fourth-year middle linebacker Jeff Gagne one-on-one stop.
Gagne one-on-one indeed. There was a meeting in the hole, and Gagne won that battle. 3rd and short. Can London's defense get off the field here?
First third down opportunity of the season for Baltimore. They were very good at converting these last season, 56%, 6th best in the league. They'll go on the ground right to the line, and they give it to him. T-Roy Gaines, the fullback, gets one when he needed one, just barely. Eddie moved the sticks.
Just barely indeed. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if London challenges that, and there goes the challenge flag right on cue.
Right on cue from the veteran, owner, executive, defensive expert Eddie Gage. Man has been around since almost the beginning of this league, folks. If you're new to this league, get ready for some top-tier insight from one of the league's best. What did you see here, Eddie?
Well, there was a meeting again once at the hole, and you can see the replay there. I think this ball is going to be marked short, and London is going to win this challenge.
Ellie Max Scarborough with the hit right on the point of contact, like you said, and it depends on where Gaines falls back.
Yeah, London wins that challenge, Tim.
Our first interaction with Ref 62, everyone's favorite member of the Simulation Football League. A challenge on the road from Chad Rowland, and like you said, Eddie, you're 1 for 1 so far this season. They win that challenge, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, and Baltimore's going to punt this ball away here and looking to pin London deep inside the 10.
So the first career punt from the rookie undrafted free agent Sam Shepard. It's a fake. He will throw it, and down he goes. London was ready for it. That one looked wonky from the start, and London takes him down. Lewis Burke, one of the defensive tackles, with a stop on 4th down.
Not the way Baltimore anticipated this season getting off to a start to, and London's going to have prime field position here to start this first quarter.
Wow, inches away from getting the first down on 3rd down with the give to the veteran T-Roy Gaines. Instead, it ends up being a huge tackle for loss against Sam Shepard, his first touch as a professional. Down he goes. London will take over inside the 40-yard line. First give to Robert Merrill, something that barely happened last season, Eddie Gage, and he picks up a gain of 2. Alvin Mack makes the tackle.
You're right, it barely happened, but when they did decide to run Robert Merrill, it was off of this play right here. They have trips to the right, and they run a strong trap. Robert Merrill up the middle against this soft box, but unfortunately for this London offense, he got little result of it.
At the bottom of your screen, fewer than 500 rushing yards for Robert Merrill, last in the league. First throw of the year for Johnny Pickler over the middle, and it's caught for a first down right over the top by Tiberius Bovine, the newest member of this London offense, the 16th year veteran in the SFL.
London decided to hire a 2 tight end scheme this season with the additional rosters, and Bovine, the Hall of Famer, takes over that tight end spot, and it gets a first down right here on their first drive.
So the oldest tight end, Tiberius Bovine, joins the best-looking tight end, Benji Matson, to form this tandem for Johnny Pickler, who will throw here. Top of the screen, it's caught for a gain of about 9. The London offense is clicking. That is Rocco McLovin, one of the second-string wide receivers for this London offense, and he's still able to pick up 9.
Pick up 9 indeed. There's a plethora of weapons out here, so you have to account for everybody.
Was excellent last season, first in the league in completions and attempts, 3rd in yards, off to a great start here. The one-back set, here is Merrill, up the middle he goes, brings a couple of men with him, and he picks up the first down to the 13.
It's that strong trap once again. You're going to send the left guard off to his right, to the right of the center, looking to get an additional body up there against that soft box, and it was just enough to get London a first down.
This is only the first drive of the season, but if this is anything to go by, clearly they will be using Robert Merrill more than they did last season, though again, not hard to do. He had the fewest carries in the league with 118 through 12 weeks. First down from the 13, Pickler will throw, short drop, out of the hands of his receiver. That's Mike St. Green, the number 2 wideout, and nearly picked, 2nd down.
Yeah, London is very fortunate that ball hit the ground because Mike St. Green and his quarterback, Johnny Pickler, were not on the same page on that play. Looks like that ball may have been thrown a bit earlier than Mike St. Green expected.
Pickler was top 10 in the SFL in every statistical category last season, but also top 10 in interceptions, through the 8th most with 30 through 12 weeks. Merrill alone in the backfield. Pickler fires to the right side, and that is caught just barely inbounds. Give him 4, ushered out of bounds by Marvin Himes, and there is Mike St. Green atones with making that catch.
Yeah, Mike St. Green, as you said, and now it's going to bring up a 3rd and 6. Got to be careful with the football right here. You want to walk away with at least 3 points, but let's see how aggressive Baltimore decides to get, because William Davidson and company is going to be coming here. This Baltimore defense is going to be coming here on this 3rd and long.
One of the best sacking teams in the SFL from a season ago. They will rush only 3. Pickler throws it out to Merrill, who breaks the tackle, and he's out of bounds short of the pylon. I saw what you saw, Eddie. I thought he was in for sure.
I thought he was going to get in too, but he got tripped up just a bit and kind of knocked him off point, I guess. And as you can see here on the replay, and it knocks him out of bounds. And you can see right there in the replay, the ball was out of bounds and outside the left pylon there.
It was Elijah Warfield, who was the number 6 corner, rookie, undrafted free agent, making the stop on Robert Merrill and preventing a touchdown, at least for now.
Look at this soft box for the DC. Yeah, that's going to be a touchdown. Excuse me.
They will give it to Merrill for the touchdown. London strikes first in season 18. They take advantage of that defensive front, Eddie, and Robert Merrill, who had only 4 rushing touchdowns all last season, has one on their first possession here this year.
And if you're a fan of these London Knights, you cannot help but be excited. This game could not have started off to a better start than this. You force the offense off the field and take advantage of a short field, and this London offense is clicking right now, just as they ended the season with, and they got big things popping right here.
I completely agree. This could not have started any better for London. Here's JT Delaney, who started his career with the London Knights. The Baltimore native is back for his 2nd tour of duty, and he knocks through the PAT. What a great way to start on the road against the reigning champs. You get the 3rd down call that could have gone either way, I guess, but either way, London takes advantage of it, getting the tackle for loss on the fake punt, which is something you hardly ever see in the SFL, and then just a couple of plays later, they go 40 yards for the touchdown.
Yeah, and like you said, you can see Johnny Picker on the sideline saying, "Let's go," in the SFL chat.
Here comes Bolt again. He gets right out to the 25 where he will start. Final drive summary courtesy of Justin and Dwayne. 8 plays, 33 yards. They split it evenly, 4 runs, 4 passes. And all it took was just a couple of minutes, and London has the lead on the road against the reigning champs. We mentioned it. Obviously, SFL fans are familiar with this. Baltimore was 11-0, looked primed rather to wrap up another perfect season, would have been the first in their franchise history. Then they went across the pond to Queensway and lost to this very same London Knight team. Looking for some revenge here as Wigmore throws. Not this time, right into the hands of the defense. Right on cue, it's Anthony Wayo with the pick. What a start for London.
London is hot right now. You cannot tell me or anyone else they are not happy with the way the season ended, losing, being one and done in the playoffs. They come out here, and I was talking to Chad pregame. He was determined to find a way to create turnovers for this defense and give his offense more opportunities. And his veteran free safety, Anthony Wayo, delivers.
Not easy to do against this Baltimore offense. They were so clinical last year. Best in the league in points per game, 2nd best in yards a season ago. Another takeaway this time, the old-fashioned way. Risky throw that time for Pickler, and it is swatted. Again, could have been picked. Alvin Max, or check that, it's Devin King, actually. 58 in the Baltimore All-Red, the newest member of this linebacker corps.
Yeah, this defense is going to have to hold the fort while their offense get themselves together. 2 turnovers here early on. And that defense may have to find a way to rebound and win this second drive.
Pickler with an incompletion, now 2nd down and 10 from the 40. Remember, this is exactly where London's first drive started. Pickler feels the heat, fires over the middle, diving catch is caught down to the 16-yard line, a gain of 24 for Mike St. Green.
And I'm not quite sure what the free safety was doing, but you can see it pre-snap. He was lurking in the backfield, and sure enough, once the ball was snapped, he came rushing towards the quarterback. I'm not sure if he was blitzing or trying to play a zone dog or what the case may be, but he was all out of position, and as a result, Johnny sees it, reads it, and makes the play.
You know a thing or two about good safeties in this league, Eddie. Baltimore has 2 of the best, but neither of them could do anything about that one. From the 16 now, Merrill again alone in the backfield. Pickler steps up, floats it towards Merrill. Spin move by Merrill, and he turns a 1-yard gain into an 8-yard gain. Thrown out by the aforementioned safety, Troy Loshaw.
You know, one of the keys to winning football or any sport in life, as my coach used to tell me, is confidence. And right now, London can't help but have all the confidence in the world. They got the world champs reeling right now.
Picking up all the confidence in the world at the end of last season by knocking off Baltimore in Week 12, putting them into the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. Now trying to make it 2 years in a row. Pickler will throw over the middle. Caught! Touchdown! Benji Matson. 2 scores in 2 drives for the Knights.
Baltimore brought the blitz yet again. The blitz did not get home, and Johnny Pickler threw the ball with, as you can see right there in the replay, where he just left from. Touchdown, London, and we got a 2-score lead for the London Knights here early on, and the world champs are looking for answers.
They are reeling right now, no question about it. Very early on, obviously, but what a start for London. And how about Benji Matson, who really had to bide his time, did a lot of blocking over it, not a lot of catching over his first couple of years as the London tight end, went off for the best season of his career last year and off to a really good start, obviously, this afternoon. Another kick from JT Delaney, and it's already up and through his 3rd kick of the first quarter, and London leads 14-0. If you're new to the SFL, it's the Simulation Football League. It combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. The team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. And a fantastic start for London on the road against the reigning league champs. Here goes Bolts. Can he put a jolt into this team? His best return so far, out to the 28. Eddie, this is just not a situation that Baltimore was in very much at all last season. Again, best in the league in points, nearly 40 points per game on average. Second in the league in total yards, better than 450 on average. They had almost no close games. Only 2 of their 12 regular season games last season were decided by 1 possession. 7 were decided by 2 possessions or more. It was just a crazy one-sided season across the balance. Now they've got to play catch-up, and that's a great way to start. Best throw of the day for Wigmore over the middle, and it's caught. Who is that on the receiving end? It's Mel Blackman.
Yeah, and that's all due to what you see nowadays. Baltimore has 2 tight ends, but their number 2 tight end was just in on special teams, so he's exhausted. So they bring in his backup, and you're going to see that a lot this season.
Or bring up a backup tackle, as the case might be for that. Mel Blackman, number 60 in the red and black. Oh, Ivory Irvin will feel he got a catch vultured from him there, I guess, from the 42. Wigmore to throw, top of the screen, and that's caught right on cue. There is Ivory Irvin. First catch of the season for the guy who was tied for the league lead in touchdown catches with 14 a season ago, one of the absolute best wideouts in the league.
And he makes his living, his office is pretty much that left sideline, just outside the numbers. He catches a lot of out routes over there, hitches and everything else. Ivory Irvin is his possession go-to receiver.
He's still able to turn some of those possession catches into big plays. He's got that talent. And Mac Chima, of course, the big striker on the other side of this offense, number 88, the red, black, and white. Clock ticking down. Wigmore to throw. Goes over the middle, streaking, and it's caught. Big play for Mac Chima right on cue. 55 yards to the house. Baltimore is right back in it.
And Baltimore remained cool, calm, collective there, and Jack Wigmore marched his team downfield, and just as they lured the defense to sleep with a short passing game, they hit them deep over the top, and we got ourselves a 1-score game.
This might be the best wide receiver duo in the SFL, Eddie. I'll put it to you. Ivory Irvin, second in the league last season in receiving yards, trailing only that man, Mac Chima, who had better than 1,500 a career season, best in the league. Chima was 4th in the league with 12 receiving touchdowns. Only a couple of guys had more, including the guy on the other side, Ivory Irvin, who had 14. These 2 guys combined for better than 50% of Wigmore's completions, nearly 2/3 of his touchdowns, and nearly 2/3 of his passing yards a season ago. It's nice to have an MVP throwing to you, as Shark Tarkington is up for the PAT and he hits it. It's nice to have an MVP throwing to you, but when you're the MVP and you can throw it to 2 guys like that, your life is pretty easy.
Well, it's pretty easy indeed. You will get no argument from me. I mean, I'm sure most of the SFL Nation would agree with you, unless you're the London Knights. they have the impression they have so many weapons for Jack Whitmore to throw to. It's hard to defend, and we'll see how London tries to do that as this game progresses. But man, you can't take a play off or they'll take advantage of it.
We were just talking about how doom and gloom it looked to be early on for Baltimore. Here's the first kick return of the season for Fox Highwind. London has already scored twice, and Fox hasn't even touched the ball in this game. We're just talking about how doom and gloom the start was, and all of a sudden, there's the Baltimore offense. They strike back immediately. You cannot go to sleep against this team. If anybody's learned anything over the last 3 seasons, it should be that.
Oh, absolutely. But like you said, there's a lot of football left, so let's see how it plays out.
See what London could do with their first standard-looking drive. Remember, they started their first 2 from the other 40-yard line, here from the 26. Pickler to throw. Merrill makes the catch, and a pickup of about 2. So here is the London offense for head coach and offensive coordinator Chad Rowland, who took over ahead of last season and led this team to the best season in franchise history, 6-6, and a playoff berth for the first time. Johnny Pickler is the quarterback. Fans of the SFL know him very well. Robert Merrill is the tailback. 3 wideouts, Vin Calia, Fox Highwind, and Mike St. Green. More on that as we go along. 2nd and 8. Again, Merrill alone with Pickler, 3 to the top. Johnny to throw, right seam, intercepted, dueling picks to start. Another pick for Pickler, and Baltimore with a great start defensively, trying to get back into it. It's Ben Stackenpaper who has risen to the task, one of the best young corners in the league.
And he started out his career out. I remember playing him early on in his career, and he was already good then, and that was a couple of seasons ago. He has progressed significantly since then. Trying to defend that corner route, very difficult to do. You're hoping just to bat it down, but he jumps out in front, picks it off, and now Baltimore has a short field to work with here, Tim.
It was a standout in the minor leagues first season and then turned that into being a first-round draft pick for Baltimore. Was their number 3 corner for a while, but now has a locked-up starting spot with Austin Brigham no longer on the team, and he takes full advantage. From inside the 40, Wigmore to throw, looking for Irvin. Got him. Big gain for Baltimore. Down to the 13, give him 36, or check that, give him 27 on the play, actually. Either way, it's going to be first down inside the red zone.
And you can see as that play was developing, it gives those corners and safeties a lot to think about because you got 2 receivers running in a near area of the zone. It gives them a lot to think about. And you don't have time to think. You just have to react based off what you see on film study. But with it being week 1, hard to read that, and Baltimore takes advantage of it.
Math was never my strong suit, as proved right there. Either way, first down from inside the red zone for the first time for Baltimore. Game has lived up to the billing so far. Wigmore throws. He had a man in the back of the end zone, but it's swatted away. Great defense at the nick of time. Lloyd Graham was the target.
Yeah, he was, and I thought there was actually going to be a touchdown, but Blackman came out of nowhere and deflected that pass away.
Emmanuel Blackman, important piece of this London defense, the youngest member of this secondary. This is just his 3rd season. Everybody else has been here for at least 3 full seasons. But it's a great play on the veteran tight end. 2nd down now from the 13. Out of the backfield comes Hazard, looking for running room, and he's wrenched down. Good one-on-one tackle by Tony Roberto, his 2nd year as a linebacker here for London.
Pair slot right, 90Z quick out, one of the harder defense plays to defend in the entire SFL. You have to commit men to the sidelines, and when you do that, you give up help over the top. So you have to be real disciplined in how you defend that play.
Baltimore showed that they were happy to target Jimmy Hazard in the passing game in the postseason. He caught 25 passes in just 3 games. 3rd and 5. Short drop for Wigmore. Bullets it to the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown. Mac Chima has his 2nd of the first quarter, and Baltimore has battled all the way back.
Yeah, down 14-0 in a blink of an eye before the fans could even get their popcorn and settle in their seats. They found their team down 14-0, saying, what's the heck going on out here? But Baltimore remained calm. They're the world champions. They've been down before, not often, as you said earlier, but they are veterans of this game, and they march right back downfield, and we have ourselves extra point pending, a tie ball game here, Tim.
We mentioned the regular season was largely smooth sailing. I don't want to say easy, but smooth sailing for Baltimore last season. The playoffs were a rocky road. They had to battle a lot of adversity, obviously playing some of the league's best teams. Vegas, Mexico City, and then, of course, Florida in the championship game. It was never going to be easy against three teams like that, but they had to battle through a lot of weird situations. That Mexico City game was crazy. It was back and forth pretty much throughout. Florida was an elite team, top to bottom, and Baltimore was still able to battle through all of that to win their second league title in 3 years. And you know that they're motivated going into this game, Eddie, because they know they were 15-1 when all is said and done last season, and that one was courtesy of this team on the other sideline. So you know they've got to be motivated today.
Oh, absolutely.
Kick from Tarkington. Tywin has returned kicks before here in the SFL, and he gets out to the 22-yard line. So, Eddie, you're a league veteran. You're an owner of a team. You know how these things work, and I know you were able to speak with both ownership groups this week. What did you learn from Chad Rowland as he prepared his team to face off against Baltimore?
Good question. I'm glad you asked, because I spoke with both of these teams. As for Chad, he wants to take advantage of every receiver that they've purchased here in the offseason and spread the field around and make Baltimore pay.
We have not seen Vin Calia at all in this game. London's number one. Pickler, short throw. It's picked off. Back-to-back interceptions from Pickler, and Stacking Papers got his second.
Wow, picking up right where he left off from last season. Johnny got to be more careful with the football than that. And you can see what happened right there on the replay. Ben Stacking Paper was actually defending that zone, and he was looking at a receiver that was running up underneath. And Johnny thought he had a lane to throw the football over the top, but Ben remained disciplined, backpedaled, and picked that ball off.
Johnny Pickler started 7 of his first 9 for 60 yards and a touchdown. One of those incompletions was a drop. His last 2 pass attempts have both been intercepted, and both have been by Ben Stacking Paper. That's crazy. From the heavy backfield set, Hazard is snowed under. Great stop and a tackle for loss by a trio of London Knights, spearheaded by Telemac Scarborough.
Yeah, you can see London stacked heavily on the strong side of the field, and in that instance, Jack Whitmore has to auto out of that play and go to something else.
We haven't even been able to talk about the London defense yet, because Baltimore's possessions have averaged about 2 minutes of real time or something like that, with 90 seconds left in the quarter. Wigmore bullets it. That's a nice catch. That looks like Lloyd Graham Jr. on a deep out route. Check that. It is Chima, 88, not 83. He picks up 7. Wrenched down by Emmanuel Blackman. So here is the London defense. Chad Rowland, Selwyn Lane, William Davidson, Cam Frosby on the line. Jeff Gagne, Tony Roberto, and Telemac Scarborough are the linebackers. Tanner Hendricks, Brandon Ewing, Emmanuel Blackman, the corners. Anthony Wyo, Jack Russell, and Rain Rie are the safeties. Less than a minute to go in the first. Play action. Wigmore top of the screen, right back to Ivory Irvin's home, and he hauls it in for another Baltimore first down. A tale as old as time.
His home indeed, but did you see that play action throw from Jack Whitmore? The fake was so quick. My goodness, he's been working on that. You could tell in the offseason, because that play action throw was amazing.
It's not something that either of these teams employ too much, because obviously the whole philosophy is you have to establish the run for the play action to work, and these were 2 of the least likely to run teams last season. Pump fake for Wigmore. That's swatted by Blackman, and he nearly picked that one off. He scored a touchdown last season for London. Could have had one here.
He nearly did, and you can see Jack Wigmore, surveying the field, looking at the defense, and that's a ball he's either got to throw away or take off with, because that was an ill-advised pass.
Fantastic start to the day for Mac Chima. As you see, Wigmore was looking for Ivory Irvin, who was kind of in rare territory. He doesn't usually patrol the right sideline, but did there. Chima, 4 catches on 4 targets, 78 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Unbelievable start.
Unbelievable.
This is for a team that was down 14-0. Wigmore will go under center, pair of tight ends to his rights. Over the middle, targets one of those tight ends, and it's caught by Lloyd Graham Jr., who had a little bit of a quiet season last year, Eddie. For my money, he's one of the better tight ends in the league. South of 50 catches, south of 500 yards, only 4 touchdowns, but he's dangerous.
He's dangerous indeed. In fact, I recruited him a couple of seasons ago, and he said, thanks, but no thanks. I'd rather stay here in Baltimore.
Guess it worked out for him, unfortunately for you. 2 titles in the last 3 seasons. Wigmore, another pump fake hit as he throws bullets. What a pass and what a catch. Down inside the 10, back-to-back grabs for Graham.
Wow, and that was an impressive throw there by Jack Wigmore. He was under duress, knew he was going to get hit, kept his head upright, downfield, and found his target for a nice completion.
And beats Anthony Weil, which is hard to do with that hard cut inside. Nice pickup, and that is how the first quarter ends. London scores the first 14. Baltimore has scored the last, and after one, we're tied up in Baltimore, Maryland. This is the SFL on Next Level Sports. Kickoff to the 18th season of the Simulation Football League continues from Baltimore. Tim Hackett and Eddie Gage here with you live. Happy to have you with us on a beautiful but cold Baltimore afternoon. First and goal for the 8 from the Vultures. Back in this game, Wigmore throws. Ooh, and that could have been an easy walk-in touchdown, Eddie, but instead, Daley Holder makes the catch 3 yards short.
Yeah, 50X spot, one of the harder plays to defend because, as I said earlier, you have to commit men close to the line of scrimmage, which leaves, little help over the top. And if he stays upright, that's going to be a walk-in touchdown.
If you're just joining us, you've missed a lot, unfortunately, in Baltimore now trying to take the lead for the first time. Bunch down to the bottom. Wigmore drops, fires back in the end zone. It's caught. Ivory Irvin has his first of the season. 3 straight scoring drives for Baltimore, and the league champs lead for the first time.
London lines up in a goal line defense, and Baltimore countered with 3 receivers and a tight end. That's a lot of men to cover in that situation. And in order to make it work for the defense, you have to get pressure on the quarterback. Jack Wigmore had a clean pocket and was able to take advantage of that situation.
Nobody got more targets a season ago than Ivory Irvin, 139 just in the regular season. He turned that into the 5th most receptions, 2nd most receiving yards, and a tie for the most touchdowns, 14 a season ago. One of the guys he was tied with is on the other sideline, Vin Calia. We haven't heard anything from him so far in this game. It's been all Irvin, Chima, a little bit of Lloyd Graham on that drive, and Jack Wigmore. 2 interceptions from Johnny Pickler directly lead to 14 points for Baltimore.
And he's got 6 targets here already here to start this second quarter.
Pickler has been one of these guys who has been known to throw the interception at times, though in fairness, every quarterback in the SFL throws interceptions, and most of them throw a lot. We've been singing Jack Wigmore's praises. He threw 25 last season, average of 2 a game, and that was one of the better marks. So just to put that in perspective, every quarterback throws picks, so Pickler throwing 2 so far is not necessarily even a a negative against him. He threw 30 last year, which was the 8th most, and now he's thrown more than 100 in his career, but he's pretty much 1-to-1 in terms of touchdowns to interception ratio over his career, which doesn't sound very good if you're a fan of professional football, Eddie, but in this league, it's really not that bad.
It's not, and as time evolves, so is the game. It's going from a run-heavy offense to pass-heavy throughout the entire league.
Pickler has really evolved as well, settling into this Chad Rowland offense now in his 2nd season. Pickler fires here, that's caught, and trying to get him back on track. They do so with a gain of 6 to Benji Matson. What's Baltimore's game plan going into this game?
Well, talking to TJ, defensively, he's aiming to get at least 3 sacks and 3 interceptions. Ben Stacking Paper already has 2 of those picks, so right now he's on cue to surpass that if this pace keeps up. Offensively, he wants to also get all of his weapons involved as well, so they're going to spread the ball around.
This team averaged 4 sacks per game last regular season, and they've got one here. Down goes Pickler, right on cue. Eddie, Nate Brown, one of the mainstays on this team, only had 4.5 sacks last season. He's got Baltimore's first year in season 18.
Well, with Sir Ryan Yates sure to get more attention this season, he's going to get more one-on-one opportunities. He takes advantage of it right there, and he's already got 1 on the season.
Reigning Defensive Player of the Year, the league's leader in sacks a season ago, Sir Ron Yates IV was right in the thick of that one, no surprise. 3rd down and 9 for London, not a situation they've been in a lot. Pumping, Pickler bullets it, caught, first down. Great job from Pickler hitting Mike St. Green in stride, and London has its first down in a while.
Yeah, actually, Baltimore had the right defensive play called up in that situation, looking to attack this 90-yard slants with coverage underneath. Unfortunately for them, they didn't get a rush on the passer, which gave Johnny more time to wait for someone to pop open. It's going to be a 1st down for London.
St. Green right inside against Ben Stacking Paper, as we mentioned, had those 2 interceptions. We've talked a lot about the 2 standout wideouts for Baltimore. Both of them had well over 1,000 receiving yards. London had 2 wide receivers with over 1,000 receiving yards last season as well. That was one of them. Pickler under pressure, down he goes again. Another sack, 2 on this drive already for Baltimore.
And you knew it was only going to be a matter of time. They come out with yet another 3-man front, but this time they were able to get pressure on Johnny immediately and bring the big man down.
That was Nate Brown solo that time. Did not need Sir Ron Yates to help bring down Johnny Pickler on that one. 2 sacks already for Brown at just 4.5 last regular season. 2nd and 14, Pickler throws behind his target, but a nice catch is made by the veteran Tiberius Bovine. Again, his 16th season in the SFL, and for those scoring at home, this is the 18th season in the SFL. So he has been there almost from the beginning, about as long as you have, Eddie.
Yeah, he has. And once again, Baltimore brings the blitz from the linebacker spot, and Johnny threw it right over the top.
London converted its last 3rd down. What can they do here from the 46? Short drop. Pickler steps up, throws short of the sticks, and it was going to be short even if it was caught. And Enzo Bolts, Giovanni's cousin, with the pass deflection. The rookie makes his first big play.
Yeah, and Johnny's offensive line gave him great protection to start this game. Baltimore looks like has made some adjustments, and they've been getting pressure on Johnny these past few plays.
As good as Johnny Pickler was through the air last season, the sacks were a big problem for London. They gave up 32 in 12 games, 3rd most, and as you said, 2 on that drive alone. Punt away from Peter McLongfellow, and the fair catch signaled for and made by Giovanni Bolts. Monday on Next Level Sports, the Simulation Football League has another doubleheader of football action to kick off the league's 18th season. First, Florida visits San Diego, 2 teams that have plenty to prove before Jacksonville faces Portland for the first time. It's a celebration of the SFL's diversity, honoring the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Coverage starts at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Visit NLSE.com to find Next Level Sports in your area. Happy to have you with us here this afternoon as we kick off season 18 with 2 total games of the first 12 on this weekend. Here's Jimmy Hazard, his first carry in a while. Nice spin move right to the line to gain, and a 1st down for Hazard.
Yeah, and I couldn't see who that was, but the right defensive end actually helped his defense out. He did not make the play, but he stretched Jimmy out wide. You can see on here in the replay right there. He's trying to make the play, unable to do so, but he stretches him out and gives his help time to get over and make the tackle.
It was Max Scarborough who was coming in to help, and that ended up being the defensive end Chad Rowland who made the tackle, or at least helped to make the tackle 10 yards down the road. So Hazard, like we said, when they used him last year as a rookie tailback, no less, very effective. 6 yards per carry, best in the league. Fake it to him here. Wigmore throws into traffic, and it's caught, they say, by Ivory Irvin right past the fingertips of the standout corner Tanner Hendricks.
And there was that play-action pass once again. Jack Wigmore, he barely even puts the ball in his belly of the running back, if at all. And that he's able to get his head around quickly, survey the field, and get the pass out.
This London defense is pretty much entirely intact from a season ago for Tanner Hendricks, who runs the show defensively. Only thing they did is they brought in one addition, and it's a familiar face. Jack Russell, who started his career here, is back for his second stint. 2nd and 2, wide open out of the backfield. Here's Hazard, and he easily picks up the first down. Nice tackle, though, shortly afterwards by number 35, Anthony Weil, the veteran safety, and a gain of about 4.
Just taking what the defense gives you. No need to force the ball downfield. Jack surveys the defense. They're sitting back deep. Just dumps it off to his tailback for easy completion and a first down.
Russell spent the last couple of years with the DC Dragons and now back playing with the London Knights, one of their 3 starting safeties. The 46, Wigmore fires wide open. It's Chima again. Can't leave him that open. And a big gain of about 17 yards for Mac Chima.
We've been seeing a lot of 2 tight end sets out of this Baltimore offense. Now they have 2 tight ends. They've made sure to keep them on the field. And as a result, he's getting extra time in the pocket. And this defense for London is going to have to adjust.
Not the first time that Baltimore has rostered 2 tight ends, but as Eddie hinted at, if you're new to the league this year, the league has expanded. There are now 23 roster spots available for teams to use, and teams can construct their rosters however they want. So Baltimore and London have both elected to go with 2 starting tight ends. Baltimore has a rookie, John Michael Sudduth. Wigmore hit as he throws. Nice hit from London. Right on him was William Davidson, one of the best D tackles in this league.
He can thank his back end for that because there was no one open downfield. Slow developing play, man-to-man defense, and William Davidson was able to take advantage of it.
Davidson had 8 sacks and 14 TFLs a season ago. If he has numbers comparable to that this year, he will surpass 100 career sacks and 150 career tackles for loss. Not too many guys have done that. The ground they go. Hazard tries to stretch it outside. How about that for a spin move? But the London defense was ready to rally to the call. Nice tackle after a short gain by Tony Roberto and William Davidson that give him just 1.
Yeah, he stretched that out wide into the teeth of the defense. And for a moment there, I thought he was going to be off to the races. I was surprised he even got that far.
Cam Frosby there as well, who had the best season among all of London's defensive line, all of which are back. 9 sacks, 22 tackles for loss, 3rd in the league, a career year for him last year. We're down in 9 for Baltimore. Wigmore fires right sideline, intercepted, undercut perfectly. They read that one from the jump, Eddie, going for a home run ball for Mac Chima, and Emmanuel Blackman rips it away at the wall.
Yeah, and perhaps this London defense has Jack's numbers because, as you stated earlier, he threw, I forget how many interceptions, but it wasn't many. He was amongst the league leaders in terms of ball security. And here to start this game off, he's already turned the ball over several times. He's got to get back on track, Tim.
Only 25 interceptions a season ago, and frankly, he could have been one of the league leaders, top 5 or even top 3 in terms of fewest interceptions thrown, but he threw 5 against London last time out, and down goes Pickler. You mentioned the defensive cues for Tim Johnston and company, 3 sacks on the game, rather. Well, there you go. There's number 3.
There's number 3 right there, and they got the 3 interceptions also, so he's got the job done in that regard, but there's still a lot of football left, and they're only up 1 score, so a lot of work left to do.
That was Joe Duncan, who is the newest member of this defensive line, replacing Tucker Lewis, another former London Knights. Pickler zips it, open, caught. A nice gain after that loss on first down. Benji Matson has been busy today, and he picks up about 7. For the first time this season, we've got a game break. Let's go to Cam and Mike St. Green in the studio.
Thank you, Tim. Mike, we've got a score in Charleston.
Yeah, Cam, LA Lycans returning to the scene of where their season ended last season. Sully Richardson finds Terrence Weary right here for his first career touchdown. Los Angeles up early on Charleston, 7-0.
Back to Tim and Eddie in Baltimore.
And Mike, thanks so much. Rookies making impacts all over the place. Terrence Weary getting involved for LA, and there's a veteran who finally gets involved, Eddie Gage, Vin Calia, with his long-anticipated first catch of the game and a first down.
A long time coming indeed. Here we are in the second quarter. Who would imagine he was just now getting his first catch? He's the #1 receiver for this London Knights offense.
1,375 receiving yards a season ago, 4th most in the league. Pickler will throw, and a short pass this time. That's caught. A stiff arm then as well by Robert Merrill. And, when you say, Eddie, that Merrill doesn't run the ball very much, he catches the ball quite a bit for a running back. I mean, it's kind of to be expected, right? I mean, this guy is a former wide receiver, so it kind of stands to reason that he would catch the ball as much as he does. He had over 100 catches last season. He was actually the team's leader in catches a season ago, and he's got one there, and a nice stiff arm to boot, showing a little bit of the running back power to go with the catching ability. Pickler steps up, fires into traffic. What a catch! Jumping up, one arm grab out to the 46-yard line by Fox Highwind, his first catch.
Yeah, and Pickler has been under duress here early on in this second quarter as he was late in the first. That was a nice throw of him because he knew he was going to get hit, absorbed the punishment, yet got the ball downfield to his target, Fox Highwind.
So finally, in this drive, first catch of the game for Calia, first catch of the game for Fox Highwind, and London is moving out to the 46-yard line. Pickler under pressure again, throws into traffic, and it's intercepted. Third pick of the game, and that is taken away by the rookie Elijah Warfield. Welcome to the SFL.
Welcome to the SFL indeed, young man. But he can thank his defensive line for that because Johnny Pickler all too often has been under pressure, and as a result, he throws an ill-advised throw, hitting the panic button, and gives the ball right back to Baltimore.
Remember, we said Pickler started this game 7 of 6 for 60 yards and a touchdown. Since then, 7 of 9, Since then, his last 11 pass attempts, 3 interceptions. And Baltimore scored touchdowns after the first 2. Wigmore zips it, dropped by Graham. That one could have been picked off. Gagne was right there.
It could have been, and it probably should have been. And it looks like his vision of where the football was may have been deterred because there was a defender in front of him between him and the ball, and perhaps he did not pick it up in time to pick up the catch.
Baltimore has really ratcheted up the defense, like you said, at least the pressure, Eddie, because Pickler had all day. The London offense was in gear. Yeah, they started from inside the 40 twice, but they were clinical, and now Baltimore will start this drive inside the enemy 40. More back to pass, and it's caught right at the sticks. It'll be a first down, but there is a penalty on the play. See, this is our first penalty of season 18, at least in this game.
I think it's going to be pass interference on
side,
London.
though. There we go.
Yeah.
Eddie is 2 for 2 on those predictions. Jeff Gagne matched right up with Lloyd Graham Jr. on that route. Graham made the catch. Gagne still interfered.
Yeah, he did. I mean, as a defender, that's a tough call, man. You got a big tight end, and he's battling for position, trying to, get in between him and the ball. That's a tough play for the linebacker to make.
Gagne is one of the better middle linebackers in the league, top 25 with over 100 tackles last season, as well as 14 passes defensed, but guilty of that infraction. Baltimore accepted the penalty, so now first down from the 27. Here's the give to T-Roy Gaines, who powers through and picks up 6. Blackman makes the tackle. T-Roy Gaines, what a story he has been. He's back wearing his number 34, which was the first number that he wore back when he started his career as the tailback for Baltimore. Tim Johnston was telling me as just kind of a callback to his roots, as he's now, of course, the Vulture fullback.
Former tailback, now playing fullback, being an ultimate team player and giving Jimmy Hazard time at that tailback spot.
And here is Jimmy Hazard with Gaines leading the way. Hazard spin move and taken down right before the first down line by Anthony Wyo.
That was a nice stutter step there by Jimmy. You can tell me working on those cone drills.
How many times have we said Wyo's name, good and bad, admittedly, so far in this game, Eddie? We've got him at 5 tackles so far. There he is.
One of the better free safeties in this entire league.
Completely agreed. Had more than 100 tackles last season, his first year for London. 2-minute warning in the first half. Vultures with the ball, up by 7. This is the Simulation Football League on Next Level Sports.
Mike, after the ensuing kickoff, LA did this.
Yeah, Cam, both road teams, they got off to a 14-0 start. We're going to see how Charleston responds, but LA's up early as well, 14-0.
Well, they just responded. Touchdown Charleston. Lots of action all day long here on the SFL on Next Level Sports. Back to Baltimore with Eddie, Gage, and Tim Hackett.
Cam, Mike, thanks so much. Baltimore trailed 14-0 in this game, but they are in striking distance looking to score again. 3rd and 1, Wigmore, pump fake, what a catch! Wigmore throws behind the target, and Lloyd Graham Jr. reaches back to haul it in.
Yeah, that was a bad pass by him on that play. But as you said, Graham able to reach back and grab that ball with one hand, knowing he's going to take a shot in the back. I know he still feels that one, but he's even happier to reel that pass in.
And 3rd down and short. It's now 1st and goal from just inside the 10. Another big catch in this game for Graham. Here goes Gaines up the middle. What a tackle. It looked like a surefire touchdown for T-Roy. But Anthony Wyo with another big-time one-on-one stop.
And I know Anthony Wyo was a ball player, but he's more of a ball hawk. T-Roy's got to lower his shoulders, get his pad level low, and muscle his way into the end zone.
Certainly would have banked on T-Roy to make that play. Do they go back to him? No, they'll go to Jimmy Hazard, stretching outside and breaking through a block to make the tackle. Emmanuel Blackman with his first TFL of the year.
And just as T-Roy should have lowered his shoulders, Jimmy needs to hit the hole and stop trying to dance to the outside. He had a touchdown there if he just turns that corner, but now it's going to be a loss on the play.
For as good as Mac Chima is, you can't expect him to hold a block like that on the outside for that long. 3rd and goal now from the 3. Wigmore over the middle. 3rd time's the charm. Touchdown, Baltimore. Lloyd Graham Jr. is a fantastic, crucial piece of that drive, and he caps it off with another touchdown, his first of the season.
His first of the season, Lloyd Graham Jr., but wow, he was wide open, and it looks like, man defense here, and the defense could not get over. Scarborough is not used to defending tight ends, and that's an easy pitch and catch for London. It's going to be for Baltimore.
The linebackers ran into each other there, and there was nobody left over the middle. Easy pickings for Lloyd Graham Jr. 3 interceptions from Johnny Pickler have led directly, immediately, to 3 Baltimore touchdowns. Shark Tarkington, who was perfect as a kicker last season and was one of the biggest reasons why Baltimore won the title game, is 4 of 4 on his PATs so far this afternoon. He was 5 of 5 on field goals in the championship game just a couple of months ago. And Baltimore has scored 28 unanswered to take the lead against London. So much for the sky falling. The Vultures are back soaring again.
Yeah, those Vultures out there were looking for a meal for a long time as they could not find the end zone. But as you said, 4 straight touchdowns for this offense, and now those Vultures are soaring.
Well, let's keep the puns going, because first of all, at first it sure looked like it was London calling, but now the Vultures are circling, looking to pick off the carcass that the Knights have left behind, because this game has just completely fallen away from the Knights. So let's turn it around, because we were talking about how in sync London looked. They were looking fantastic. They had those takeaways, 2 quick touchdowns. Offense was looking good. But now the last couple of minutes, especially this second quarter, all Baltimore.
Yeah, and perhaps they need to get their running game going, because some ill-advised passes by Johnny, that he needs some help.
Have not gone to Merrill on the ground very much recently. Pickler will throw, trying to settle him back down, and a quick catch on the outside by Vin Calia. Coming up on the APM Music Halftime Report, Cameron Irvine and Mike St. Green will get you caught up on all the biggest storylines of the offseason, plus get a look at what's going on in South Carolina and the playoff rematch between Los Angeles and Charleston. Part of our bonus coverage here today on Next Level Sports. It's all coming up at the half. That looks to be an interesting game. Again, a playoff rematch. Charleston won that game against the upstart LA Lycans. This a rematch from the last week of the regular season in season 17, won by the upstart London Knights. Pickler to throw this way. That's caught by St. Green, who spins and steps on the sideline. Looked like the right call, but either way, London's got a first down.
And perhaps this is the way you're going to have to attack this Baltimore defense until Johnny settles down with a short passing game. Take what the defense gives you. Stop trying to force it. And until something pops open deep, just settle for what they're giving you.
London's got all 3 timeouts, Eddie, but only 30 seconds left in the half. And the ball on their own 36-yard line. Does Pickler air it out, considering how poorly that's gone of late? He will throw here, or at least try to. Down he goes again. Another sack for Baltimore. Joe Duncan with the stop against his former team.
Yeah, and I forget the exact name of the play, but it was a staple of London's offense last season, 50 flood spread or something to that nature. And they had Mike St. Green out to his left, but he was blanketed, between him and the defender. There was nowhere to go, and Johnny had to eat the football on that one.
Any chance London snaps the ball here? They do with 1 second left, and Pickler will sidearm it over to the sideline, and nobody's home. Going for Kalia, pressure applied by Sirron Yates IV. Can't explain that one, Eddie.
Wow, yeah, it's some great football by this Baltimore defense, but we got halftime coming up.
They have turned up the heat for sure. London scored the first 14. Baltimore has scored the last 28. And at the halftime break, the league champs are back. They're up 2 scores at the intermission. After the break, Cameron Irvine and Mike St. Green for the 8 p.m. Music halftime report. This is the SFL Season 18 kickoff on Next Level Sports.
Welcome to the 8 p.m. Music Halftime Report along with Mike St. Green. I'm Cameron Irvine. 28-14. Got to fix my headphones. 28-14. Baltimore on top. London got off to the hot start. Your thoughts on the first half, Mike?
Yeah, London got off to a hot start, as you mentioned, Cam, up 14-0, and then this Baltimore Vultures offense. But first, let me talk about the defense. They pretty much turned things around with the interceptions that they had of Johnny Pickler there in the first half. But then the offense got rolling, and then the thing is with Baltimore, once that ship gets rolling, it's hard to slow them down. And 28 unanswered points. Lord Graham Jr.'s had a huge impact on the first half, and early on, Mac Chima made a lot of noise as well. But what I would like to see out of London, is 2 words: Vin Callier. We have not seen a lot of him in this first half. They're going to have to get him going if they're going to get back in this game.
Baltimore flexing just a bit, faking the punt on the opening drive. What did you think of that call, Mike? After winning the championship, they think they're invincible. They can do anything.
Yeah, I think they can afford to play like that when you have an explosive offense that can score 28 points in such a short period of time. So, yeah, they were experimenting with some things there early on, and it kind of cost them a little bit, but they got things turned around, and they find themselves up by 14.
Like, I think the biggest thing in that first half is just the pressure on Johnny Pickler. We know that Jack Wigmore gets the ball out quick, and actually London's done a pretty good job putting him under duress, but those sacks are killing London's flow and momentum. They still have not scored a touchdown or scored any points on a long drive. They've got to figure out how to protect the quarterback.
Yeah, they lost Butch Manor off that line from a season ago. He went over to Queen City. Kind of a young offensive line this season. Johnny didn't suffer a sack. Early on in the season, last season. Till a few games in. So they're going to have to mesh a little bit with one another, but give them a little bit more time to look downfield and find his receivers.
Here at SFL Studios, we got a lot of action going on all day long. Charleston and Los Angeles are playing almost a carbon copy. It is freaky, Mike. We've got it's a totally different game with two totally different teams, yet we are seeing kind of the same story play out. Los Angeles jumped out to a 14-0 lead. It's now tied 14-14. These two teams who are used to playing a bunch of defense are in a shootout. We expected the shootout in Baltimore, but the over-under on the other game is 45.5 points. We already have 28, and they just started the second quarter.
Yeah, Cam, two teams that, defensive-minded teams for the most part. Charleston, they like to grind it out on the ground, and L.A., they pretty much, that was their philosophy all of last season, but they came out guns a-blazing. Sully Richardson with a huge touchdown pass early in that game, but very similar in the way that happened with our game that we have here. A couple of turnovers from Charleston, and they're right back in it.
Storylines aplenty in the SFL. Of course, our championship game was in early November. We take a couple of months off. We've got, we don't take it off. The teams on the field take it off, but we've had free agency, a rookie draft, re-signing period, all-star games, all sorts of stuff, Mike. I'll start with you on a storyline that really caught your interest heading into season 18.
One was as you mentioned the draft was the Louisiana Revolution taking Randy Squarebush with their first pick in the draft. Squarebush is one of the higher rated running backs in the league, and the biggest surprise to that, for those that don't know, they also had a big free agent signing of Colin Hart, bringing him over from Sioux Falls in the offseason. So a lot of people were thinking that Louisiana would go in a different direction, but they have two high-powered and high-valued running backs on that team. We're going to see how it plays out for them coming into the season.
A lot of teams are a little bit more run-centric this year, trying to invest in the running game with all the secondary talent that was drafted this season. But I'm interested in what Queen City's going to do. We know that as you mentioned, Butch Menor went over from London to Queen City. We know that Queen City loves to run the ball. They now have 3 contracted offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. It's the best offensive line in the league, I'm pretty sure. I don't think anybody else has as much talent up front. And so it's going to be really interesting to see their sort of jet zero, ground and pound. They are not a sexy football team, but they play a hard-nosed style of football that is fun to watch.
Yeah, Cam, as you mentioned, jet zero, ground and pound. It looks like they're going to double down on that strategy again this season. They had a lot of success making the playoffs last season with that strategy. And as you mentioned, they went out and got Butch Manor and a couple other offensive linemen to say, hey, we're going to keep doing the same thing that worked for us last season. Hey, we're coming at you to see if you can stop it.
Queen City plays the Lone Star Glory Monday evening on the SFL YouTube channel. Give us one more, Mike. What piqued your interest this offseason?
Oh, wow. What piqued my interest most? I'll tell you what, another thing that kind of piqued my interest a little bit was my old team, the Jacksonville Kings. I have a question for you, kind of. Are they still the same Jacksonville Kings that we've known, throughout the years and seasons that, always competing for a title, going to be right there? Because one huge free agent that left was Hunter Norwood. He went over to Arizona. And as I look up and down their roster, I just don't see the familiarity of the names that I'm accustomed to seeing, and that's also accustomed to winning over there. I just wonder if they're the same Jacksonville that we have come accustomed to throughout the years in the SFL.
I was looking back on some old interviews and ran across Kingston Ellington, who is expected to have a big season there in Jacksonville. He was a really great interview. We had him on at halftime last season. Last storyline for me is Johnny Reno, the guy in Fort Worth. Yeah. They're looking for that franchise guy. He was on camera with the number 2 pick in the draft, throwing the football. I mean, the guy is ready to go. Spent a lot of time in Tacoma, made a lot of headlines in the minor leagues. And, Fort Worth, it was kind of a transition season. They even admit it, Mike. They say, we had a new coaching staff. It didn't really match our roster, our personnel. Now we've got the personnel that our coaching staff was looking for, and they're looking to make a big leap in the Southern Division, the always very difficult Southern Division. 14-14, LA and Charleston still tied in the second quarter on bonus coverage. Anything caught your attention from that game before we headed back to Baltimore?
Yeah, just really the offensive so far. The way they have been moving the ball a little bit over there, they've kind of settled down here going into the second quarter. But yeah, LA kind of surprised me coming out to run the ball the way that they did. But they did, their big back, Robert Johnson, they did get him going a little bit. Keith Swearingen has a couple of touchdowns for Charleston, but we pretty much expect that out of them. But they did have a couple of big passing plays to get them in that position to get Swearingen in. So both teams who we're accustomed to ground and pound kind of have gone to the air in order to get to the end zone today.
T.D. Drew's still perfect in the first half, 8 for 8 for over 100 yards. 28-14, Baltimore leads London here at the half, and we're back to Sports Gamers Online Stadium in Baltimore after this commercial break. The Vultures scored 28 unanswered. They're on top, but London gets the ball to start the second half. This has been the APM Music Halftime Report, and we'll be back for bonus coverage and postgame in the studios. Second half next.
Welcome back to Sports Gamers Online Stadium here in Baltimore. Check out sportsgamersonline.com or check them out on YouTube and see why millions visit their website and YouTube channel. We've got an all-star crew here for you as we kick off Season 18 of the Simulation Football League. Happy to be a part of it. This league has come so far in just a few short years, and this is an amazing community to be a part of. London was feeling the love early, 14 points to start off in just the first couple of minutes, but Baltimore has rattled off the last 28 straight, showing why they are the league champs. Now let's get the thoughts from the Hall of Famer, Eddie Gage. Your take on that first half.
Impressive first half. It started out, with London just taking advantage of short field position based off turnovers, but the world champs battled back and scored 4 straight touchdowns to end the first half.
Improving their mettle for sure. London will start from the 34. Johnny Pickler's throw is swatted away. Another risky pass from Pickler. That was nearly right into the hands of number 42. That is Frank Smith, the middle linebacker for Baltimore, has been a big piece of this team recently.
Yeah, he has a 90-yard slants, and the tight end is usually the target on that play, but you cannot defend it any better than that. That was very impressive.
Had 15 pass breakups last season. That was 6th in the league, and he's a middle linebacker. Had 2 more pass breakups and a pick in the championship game against the Florida Storm. 2nd and 10 for Pickler. Throwing it this way, and it's caught for a gain of about 6. Vin Calia, who did not have a catch in the first quarter, had a couple in the second, and he's on the board here in the third.
And they're going to need a lot of him and Mike St. Green here in the second half. They're going to get back into this ball game. So Vin and this offense need to get on the same page.
You would think that Calia would be the person that he would target as he tries to right the ship a little bit. Pickler. He'll throw to the top of the screen, and it's dropped into the hands of, I think it was Tiberius Bovine, Eddie.
Yeah.
And that's not something you see very often from one of the league's all-time greats.
Yeah, they brought Bovine over to as a veteran to help in this with the tight ends to help Benji out. And here he got a 5-yard out route. He's got to reel that ball in and help his quarterback out. Inexcusable on that play.
Yeah, he was wide open. It should have been a gain of 8 and a first down. And the not even future Hall of Famer, the current Hall of Famer, was just inducted in the middle of last season. His 16th season in the league, 2nd all-time in total receiving yards with better than 12,000. First among tight ends. Should have had 8 more there, but did not. And London will have to punt from Peter McLongfellow. Giovanni Bolts, who is one of the best in the business at punt returns, does not have anywhere to go. It's just a couple, and a great tackle by a host of Knights, including Jack Russell, who is back as a member of this secondary, as we talked about in the first half. The Baltimore offense, they really righted the ship in that first half, Eddie Gage. Really, after that weird decision to fake punts, and that got blown up, and then the interception from Wigmore. He threw one more pick, but he also threw 4 touchdowns in that first half.
Picking up right where he left off at last season.
No question about it. And he will start in the gun here with Jimmy Hazard to his left. The southpaw Wigmore looking for a big hitter again, and he's got one all the way out to the 47-yard line. Big gain for Ivory Irvin.
Low developing play, 50Z tight end cross, but his offensive line gave him great protection up front, and look at that clean pocket up there on the replay, and he finds his man open downfield for a big first down just short of midfield.
It really was the biggest difference to me, at least in the first half, and you were hinting on it as we went along in the second quarter. You said clean pocket. Jack Wigmore was not really under pressure at all in the second quarter, which is an improvement because Baltimore gave up quite a few sacks, 28, 6th most in the league last season. Wigmore zips it, caught by Lloyd Graham, and they will give him the first down, apparently. Looked like he might have been short, but either way, a nice gain on first down for Baltimore.
Graham very active here for this Baltimore offense here, and London's going to challenge that play. They don't think he made the first down.
Oh, there we go. London's already 1 for 1 with successful challenges here in season 18. And, I mean, to me, Eddie, at first glance, naked eye, whatever you want to say, they sure look like they have a stake to this claim.
Yeah, I thought he was short as well. As you can see here in the replay, yeah, he's short. That's going to be 2nd in inches here for this Baltimore offense.
The knee's way short. I mean, the ball never comes close. I mean, obviously the yellow line is just added. We know that, but
yeah,
the knee is way short.
Yeah, that's going to be overturned.
I never get these right. Well, there we go. But I guess in fairness, that one was a layup.
Yeah, that was a layup indeed. And Chad is on the sidelines upset. He even has to waste a challenge on that one.
So London leading the challenge, successful challenge count 2-0. But as you can see in these brand new team stat graphics, part of the new stat rollout that Cameron Irvine has developed over the last couple of months, Baltimore leading in just about everything else, nearly twice as many yards per play. And they will now have 2nd in inches. Wigmore, top of the screen. That's how you do it. Wide open, first down, and a whole lot more out to the 36-yard line of London. First career catch for the rookie tight end, John Michael Sutton.
Yeah, and they had the right play dialed up because London was stacking the box, had the middle linebacker blitz in the A-gap, anticipating a run or a strong ISO, but they decided to pitch it out to the tight end for an easy completion and a first down.
Frankly, that was what London was trying to do on their last possession. It didn't work. It does work there for Baltimore, and guy in Sudduth who has a lot fewer catches in his career than Bovine does. Wigmore throws, high pass, caught by Hazard, and he's taken down after a short gain of about 1 by Tellymac Scarborough, who is a member of the SFL All-Name team.
You talked about him being amongst the league leaders in tackles, and he showed it wide right there, able to defend Jimmy right there. That was man-to-man defense, and he got out wide to the sidelines to make that tackle. That was very impressive athleticism there by the linebacker.
Also picked off a pass last season, which was just the second interception of his career in his 4th season with London. Here's Hazard running right this time, breaks through the first tackler, and then is brought down by the second. That is Jeff Gagne, who was the team leader in tackles. Jack Russell had the first hit.
And that carry by Jimmy Hazard is going to get Baltimore in field goal range here, but it's second down and short. They're looking for a touchdown here.
This is already one of their longest drives in terms of total time off the clock. It's only been about 2 minutes. Remember, London got the ball to start this half. Big more to throw this way. Here's Irvin on the crossing route to the bottom of the screen. We said it, Eddie. He doesn't usually play over there, but they've mixed it up a couple of times. Quick hitter for a first down.
And speaking of which, I don't know about you, Tim, and how much of a student of the game you are, but this looks like the TJ Speaks version of the Baltimore offense, and not necessarily T Paternitti. I can't even say his name. His last name, T Paternitti, the doctor.
He's been in charge of this team for a while. They call him T-Pat and TJ, the two leaders of this team. And back to the top of the screen they go. There's Gaines. No, nearly breaks through a tackle and picks up 7. I mean, you talk about student of the game, Eddie, and that defines you to a T. What have you been picking up on with that look?
Well, like I said, this offense looks like the TJ Speaks offense of old when they won their first championship a couple of seasons ago. I'm not in their locker room, so I don't know how much of an influence he has on the offense this season. But what I'm seeing thus far, it looks like the offense that TJ Speaks ran previously.
It's Tim Johnston and Dr. Thomas Paternitti. That's the brain trust here for Baltimore. And somebody's got to get the Italian name. It's got to be me, I guess. They've got a couple of Italian guys on the defensive side as well. So if it's not Gerald Giudice, I guess it's got to be me that gets it. Wigmore to throw on second down. End zone, tip, and intercepted. London with a big play. They had Chima looking for his hat trick, and Anthony Wayo continues his killer game.
Yeah, Anthony Wayo may have just saved this game. We'll see how it unfolds here for Houston. He used to play for Houston. But we'll see how it unfolds here for London. But they come up with a critical interception here in the red zone that perhaps may have saved this game. We'll have to see how it unfolds for London.
If you were picking former teams that Wayo was on, I wasn't sure that Houston would have been your first choice, but it is true that he was on Houston at one point, and now his second season for London. Look at that stat line. Another part of the new stat rollout from Cameron Irvine. From the 20, Pickler this way. That could have been picked off again. There is one of the aforementioned Italians in the defensive backfield for Baltimore, Enzo Bolt. He's Giovanni's little cousin. He's a rookie second-round pick out of the Madison Lynx, the most recent SFLM champions, and joining Gio in the backfield now in the pros.
I'm going to call it right here, Tim. Neither of these teams, got little preseason action, and I'm just going to blame it on the preseason because both of these quarterbacks have made a number of ill-advised throws.
Thrown 5 make it 6 interceptions combined now as Pickler taken down again. Another sack for Baltimore. They have really ratcheted up the pressure here lately, and that's Al Walker who finally joins the party. Everybody on this defensive line has a sack.
Yeah, we talked about it during the break. Their defensive line for Baltimore is what got them back in this ball game, in my opinion.
Really not a lot of pressure, not a lot of impact in the first quarter, and then a ton in the second. Pickler deep throw, caught by Calia on 3rd and 16. Vin Calia gives them 18. A big strike from their big play wideout.
Yeah, I thought that pass was going to get batted down, but the defender could not get turned around in time and locate the football, and as a result, it's going to result in a big first down for London to get them deep out of their own end.
Callie has been quiet today, Eddie, and Elijah Warfield has the pick, but you put a 5th-year wideout and a reigning all-star in Calia on a rookie undrafted free agent, Elijah Warfield one-on-one, advantage London in that situation all day long.
All day long.
From the 34, Merrill alone in the backfield. Pickler will go his way. Spin move, another spin move by Merrill. He looked like he was dead to rights. Might have been a loss of 2. Instead, Robert Merrill, the former wideout, somehow picks up 5.
Made 2 men miss, almost made a 3rd one miss, and he's showing his versatility of why he used to play wide receiver.
One of the most used running backs in terms of catches, despite being the least used running back in terms of carries. He nearly had as many catches as rush attempts last season. Pickler will throw. That's caught by Benji Matson. Zips out and picks up about 8 or so on a nice dart. And Matson now the tight end 1 for this team, showing why.
Yeah, actually, he's a tight end too, as Bovine took that #1 claim.
you're right, my
but
fault.
no apologies. It's a team game up here in the booth too. But yeah, perhaps he's in on that play because Bovine had the jitters earlier, dropping that pass.
Honestly, and so that you got to have a team game as in the tight end room as well. Matson has been a tight end one before, the only tight end on a team, not this year. They'll go on the ground. There is Merrill. We just talking about it. Doesn't get a lot of carries, gets one there, picks up a couple. Joe Duncan makes the stop, and we talked about the brain trust here for Baltimore. They had to remake this team in the offseason, Eddie, and you know this better than anybody. Offseason turnover is a given in the SFL. There are players that come and go every year, not for Baltimore. This team has been almost unchanged the last 2 seasons. This past offseason, a lot of changes, even after winning a championship. As Pickler fires, that's caught again by Benji Matson, and he picks up a gain of about 6. Between season 15 and season 16, they had 0 changes. So Baltimore wins the championship in season 15. In the offseason, they made 0 moves. Everybody came back. After season 16, they only had to make 2 changes, 2 departures, 2 guys came in. That's it. This offseason, different story. 3rd and 3, Pickler floats it up, and basketball rebounding style, 5 guys were there. Yeah. Matson for London, Mack for Baltimore. Nobody's able to haul it in 4th down.
Yeah, unable to reel that one in, and wow, lucky that one wasn't intercepted. But to harp back on your point, you got to give credit to that Baltimore front office staff and their ownership in retaining these players. Yes, winning helps, but you have to sell those guys your dream that you're going to continue to go out here and participate.
I completely agree. And the fact that, so they win season 15 and bring everybody back, I guess that's not that much of a surprise, right? But the fact that they almost brought everybody back after the next season is impressive. What a punt. There is the first career punt. Check that. That's Peter McLongfellow. I'm sorry, not his first career punt, but a beauty. And that will pin Baltimore back inside their own 5. We'll take a break. Be back for the rest of the 3rd quarter after this. The season 18 kickoff of the Simulation Football League on Next Level Sports. Time ticking down in the 3rd quarter. Here from the newly christened Sports Gamers Online Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. Alongside the Hall of Famer Eddie Gage, Tim Hackett here with you live as London jumps offside. That'll give Baltimore some breathing room. Here's a whole lot more. Jimmy Hazard with the spin move, wrenched down by Tony Roberto. It'll be a gain of about 8, but a penalty flag flies first.
Yeah, I think they're going to – here's a question. Do they accept the penalty given the yardage he got on that play? We'll see.
was about to ask you the same thing. What do you think?
They declined it. They declined the penalty. I'm always one to accept the penalty and get the free down, but that's a tough choice. But that's why I'm up here in the booth with you.
And we are all the better for it. It was a gain of about 8, so I actually like that decision. It should be 2nd and 2. You can do almost anything you want with this kind of offense on 2nd and 2, even from your own 12.
Oh, I agree.
Make it 2nd and 1, actually, now. Gain of 9 through the sky for Hazard. More to throw, zips it, tipped, and then caught by Irvin. That ball hung up in the air for a half an hour, and somehow Ivory Irvin brought it in, his 8th catch of the game.
That was another dangerous throw, but they continue to live on the edge, and his teammate, Johnny on the spot, comes up with the reception.
Irvin, remember, he had 103 catches last season over 12 games, averaging just over 8.5 in the regular season. Only 6 catches in the title game against Florida for only 50 yards. They really shut him down, but he's been big so far here today. Not a surprise. First down after that play. Wigmore wide open over the middle, zips it, and it's caught. A gain of 16. Another dart, this time to Daley Holder.
And that was probably his best throw of the night right there, because the window to get that to his receiver was small, but he put some zip on the pass. You see right here in the replay, and gets it in to protect his receiver, who still took a big hit nonetheless.
We talked about T. Roy Gaines being a team player, moving to fullback to pave the way for Jimmy Hazard. How about Daley Holder? He's a former All-Star. He's a former starter. He's the number 3 wide receiver for this Baltimore team, has been for years because of the 2 standouts that he plays with. Short gain for Hazard there, give him maybe 1. Tackle made by Scarborough. And so Holder, again, former starter, former wide receiver. He is now the number 3. We've got a game break from Charleston. Here's Cameron Irvine and Mike St. Green.
Thank you, Tim. Defense has reigned in the second half, but LA's Chris Lee is balling, Mike.
Yeah, Cam, the defense has kind of took over there for about a quarter and a half, but Sully Richardson, following a Rochelle Colston interception, finds Chris Lee, who's having a huge day, and puts LA up in the third quarter, 21-14.
Back to Tim and Eddie. London looking for a stop, 3rd down.
Yeah, Mike, thanks so much. Must have been the pregame cheese from Chris Lee. LA leading Charleston by 7. That playoff rematch, you can catch that game on the SFL's Twitch page, twitch.tv/SimulationFL. Thanks for rocking with us here on Next Level Sports, alongside our statisticians, Justin Reside and Dwayne Schindler, and my partner, Eddie Gage. Tim Hackett here with you live from Baltimore, where the Vultures have a 2-score lead with 2 minutes left in quarter number 3. 3rd down, Wigmore, short throw, it's caught. Sudeth, the rookie, has his 2nd catch of his career, 1st down.
His 2nd catch, showing his athleticism for a tight end, able to contort his body, turn around, make the catch, and remain upright to get the 1st down. That was impressive by the rookie.
He zipped it, man, and that added some heat on it, and it was not an easy catch for him to make, but he somehow did. He's showing that he might be a valuable piece of this team going forward. From the I formation, 1:40 left in the 3rd. Here's Hazard, can't break through. London, great defense at the line. They've contained Jimmy Hazard on the balance of this game, Eddie. Cam Frosby talks about him. Fantastic season, a career year for him. His first year playing across the pond, he was right there on that stop.
Yeah, he hasn't had many opportunities, but the opportunities that he has had, London has done a great job of limiting his production.
Unofficially, 10 carries, 25 yards, an average of 2.5 yards per toe. Wigmore floats it up right out of the sky into the basket of Lloyd Graham Jr. That was beautiful.
We talked about it earlier. That's a hard pass to defend, and he throws it back shoulder where only his tight end can catch it. And Lloyd Graham has been very active here for Jack Wigmore today.
Talked about it a little bit, but Wigmore was just sensational a season ago. 4th in completions, or check that, 7th in completions, 4th in attempts, my apologies. 2nd in yards with nearly 4,500. 1st in touchdowns with 40, nobody threw more than him. And 2nd in quarterback rating, 101.4. A couple of interceptions down the stretch of the season didn't hurt his candidacy at all. Shoe-in for league MVP in just his 2nd full season as a starting quarterback. Wait, that was a poor throw, though, and it was swatted. Could have been picked. Tony Roberto had his hands on it. 2nd down.
Yeah, London actually had that play defended pretty well all around. There was really no one open. He tried to force that ball into a tight window. It was not there, and it's going to be 2nd down for Baltimore.
We missed it because he's thrown so many touchdowns already in this game. He's got 4, not even through 3 quarters, but he's also surpassed. Wigmore has 100 career touchdown passes. This is just his 4th season in the league, an impressive rate. Here's Gaines, or check that, Hazard, my apologies, up the middle. Just so used to the handoff up the middle going to T. Roy Gaines, Eddie, even after the last season where he was the starting fullback for this team. Roberto again on the stop.
Yeah, Roberto coming over from St. Louis a season ago, looking to put his stamp on this ball game. You talk about everyone reaching these milestones. Roberto looking to get there himself one day.
Tanner Hendricks has gotten to use a pretty much totally intact defense. They didn't have any departures in the offseason, only one addition, Jack Russell. 3rd and 9, Wigmore fires into traffic, right into the body of Emmanuel Blackman. Couldn't pick that one off, had one earlier, but it will bring up 4th down.
He could not, but that's a pass play that Baltimore loves to employ. They got it in a couple of different sets. I think it's 50x a post, and London defended it beautifully.
We saw this in the playoffs, Eddie, because when Baltimore matched up with Mexico City, I was privileged enough to be there in person for that game. Mexico City was rocking with 3 rookie corners. It is incredibly difficult to defend a team this good, a receiver core this good with a bunch of rookies. Florida has the complete opposite problem. They've got the most veteran secondary in the league. London's up there as well with Tanner Hendricks, Brandon Ewing, Emmanuel Blackman. These guys have all been in the league for a couple of seasons at least. And it's easier to defend standouts like that when you've got that experience. There is Sham Shepard. His first career punt is fielded by Fox Highwind. Nowhere to go. Good tackle by DeAndre Fields.
And to touch on your point, in my opinion, Tanner Hendricks is one of the least talked about corners, but he's, in my opinion, one of the better ones.
Back-to-back standout seasons for the 8th-year corner from Kansas City. Done with 3. No change in score. It's still Baltimore 28, London 14. The SFL on Next Level Sports continues right after this.
Welcome back to SFL Studios. Mike, LA's back on the horse.
Yeah, Cam Sully Richardson is trying to return to his all-star form from a couple of seasons ago when he was in Carolina. He finds Davius Reed here for his 3rd touchdown pass on the day. LA is up 2 scores, 28-14 late in the 3rd quarter.
Tim and Eddie have the 4th quarter from Baltimore.
Hi, Cam. Thanks so much. LA looking for some revenge on Charleston from their loss last season. Baltimore looking for some revenge on London for their loss last season. They're well on their way. Start of the fourth quarter, Johnny Pickler's pass in and out of the hands of Tiberius Bovine. That was going to be a much harder catch than his last attempt, Eddie. Great defense, second down.
Yeah, you can't quite blame him from that one. As he took a shot, didn't get the number, but he got drilled right in the rib cage trying to extend and come up with that reception.
Happy to have you with us as we kick off the 18th season of the Simulation Football League. Tim Hackett and Eddie Gage here in the booth. Justin Reside, Dwayne Schindler in the stat truck, an all-star crew. Happy to be a part of it as we move along here in the fourth quarter in Baltimore. On the give, they go back to Robert Merrill, his first carry in a while. Joe Duncan makes the tackle. Guy who started his career with the London Knights, now playing his first season with Baltimore. Spent the last couple of seasons playing for the San Diego Mavericks.
Yeah, Baltimore, quietly got him on board there. That was a move I did not anticipate.
To replace Tucker Lewis, they had to make a change at every level of the defensive starters, which is not something that Baltimore is used to. 3rd and 9 for Pickler. Important opportunity, a diving catch made by Fox Highwind, another guy, one of these guys who started their career with London. They're back playing for London under new ownership and new coaching. The Pickler left it short. Highwind had to dive out to make that play, 4th down.
Yeah, he had to dive out because the defender was there, so he wanted to get to his outside shoulder. If he can come up with that catch clean, he may be able to turn upfield and get a first down, but unfortunately for London, he could not do so.
You see it there, unofficially, London in the negatives in rushing yards, and nearly that punt blocked from Mick Longfellow, and Bolts gets out to the midfield line and no further. Visit the SFL website at simulationfl.net for links to apparel from Sector 6, the official apparel provider of the Simulation Football League, and SFL mini helmets from 97 Sports Promotions. Sector 6 features replica team jerseys and completely customized jackets, flags, t-shirts, and more. Get the gear the fans wear with Sector 6, 97 Sports Promotions, and the SFL. Baltimore looking decked out with this 14-point lead. Remember, they have scored the last 28 points after trailing early 14-0. London has not had an answer. Here goes Jimmy Hazard's spin move and a nice stop after a gain of 7. I should clarify, Eddie, they have not had an answer offensively, but defensively, much better third quarter from the Knights.
I absolutely agree. In fact, the defense for London is what has kept them in this game. And now Baltimore may perhaps tend to lean on Jimmy Hazard a bit here to close out this quarter.
Obviously, 0 points scored by either team in the third quarter after we had 42 combined in the first half. Wigmore will throw here, though, looking near side. Irvin stretches out, makes the catch. They'll mark him out at the 30-yard line. 10th catch of the game for Irvin. That was all him.
That was his impressive catch that he's had all day because they're going to challenge that play. They don't think he got in bounds.
I don't know, Eddie. That looked good at first glance to me, but London and Chad Rowland, they're 2 of 2 on challenges so far.
2 of 2, and that one's going to be close. I think they're going to lose this challenge, but let's get a better look at it here.
Kick out, Irvin wide open.
Yeah, that's a catch.
He's got 2 feet, and then as he stretches out, the left foot does graze the chalk, but he had possession before, didn't he?
Yeah, that's a catch, and he's going to lose that one, but it's hard for him to see it from the far side of the field, so it's kind of hard to blame him for that one.
So you're just rolling the dice. All right, I'm your Chad Rowland. You're thinking, all right, I'm hot. I'm on fire with these challenge calls. I've gotten 2. One which was clear, one which was dicey, and that one was probably the wrong decision. So we've seen a little bit of everything from Chad Rowland on the side. But at some point, Eddie, you're just trying to give your team a spark, aren't you?
You are, but that's a lost timeout, and hopefully down 2 scores, that does not come out to bite them because now they're down to 2.
No question. Lose a timeout, and you don't even have the ball. 9:20 left in the fourth. Baltimore up 14. Wigmore to throw. Hazard, I think he made that catch, but he's out of bounds, so just depends on if they want to give him a catch for that. Either way, it'll be second down.
Yeah, second down, and once again, they've been down up this play several times today. 50Z tight end cross, I believe it's called. That's a Mexico City special as they ran it to death during that game versus Baltimore last season in the playoffs.
Either of these running backs have had big games. Hazard's had 12 rushing attempts, 5 catches, about 60 total yards. Wigmore dots it in, and Daly Holder, again falling back, makes the catch. He's seen a lot of the turf in this game, Eddie, but he's also seen a fair share of the ball, gain of 5.
He has. That was a tough catch. He had to throw that ball before he was ready.
Brings up third down. Another catch for Holder. We've got him at 4 for 32 yards. Haven't heard a lot from Mac Chima recently, Eddie, after those first 2 touchdown catches, the first 2 of the season Baltimore. Maybe they go his way on third down. Wigmore looking top of the screen. He was going for Chima, who gets hit early on another penalty flag.
The first one was a bang-bang play. I didn't quite agree with it, but this one was more egregious and obvious. That's going to be a pass interference on the defense.
Brandon Ewing was in the area for London. The first time we've called his name today, Eddie, and it is a DPI against the fifth-year man from Flagstaff, Arizona. First down for Baltimore. We've got a game break. Here's Cameron Irvine.
Thank you, Tim. Charleston hanging around, Mike.
Yeah, Cam, the Predators are trying to claw their way back into this game. First play of the fourth quarter, Jay Taylor takes a pass from T.D. Drew. 6 points on the board. L.A. up 28-21.
Baltimore in the red zone. Back to Tim and Eddie.
First down from the 15 to give to Jimmy Hazard. Sidestep by Hazard, and he's tackled just short of the line to gain. Another tackle from Wyo. Russell is there to help. That game is exciting, Eddie. 7-point lead for the Lycans. 14-point lead here for Baltimore. They're trying to ice it with a score here.
They are just over 8 minutes left in this ball game, looking to make this a 3-score lead. Second in inches here, just inside the 10.
Hazard out rushing Robert Merrill on the game with just that carry, unfortunately for London. They'll go back to Hazard, stretching outside, daylight, and then he is plastered. A pile drive tackle by Jack Russell. They call him the Terror for a reason. Nice stop, first and goal.
Yeah, if he makes that man miss, he's going to walk into the end zone, but solid open field tackle there by this London defense.
Russell had 6 pass deflections, 6 picks, and a touchdown in his last season with the DC Dragons. First and goal now from the 2. Here's Jimmy Hazard. He is pile driven again. Back-to-back big hits by Jack Russell.
Don't tell this defense that the game is over. They are still out here competing. They know there's a lot of time left. They can get the ball back to their offense, looking to make something happen.
I thought this was such a nice re-addition to the London secondary. Again, this is the only defensive change London made. They added Jack Russell back into the fold, trying to improve on a defense that allowed more points than anybody last season, more than 32 per game. Second and goal now from the 1. Wigmore to throw this time. Bullets it caught. Touchdown. Ivory Irvin. He's got another one. Baltimore goes up 3 scores.
Strong pro 90-yard slants against this goal line defense. You got to get pressure on the quarterback, and you got to get it immediately, and Jack Wigmore had all the time in the world to survey the field, find his target, and it's going to be a touchdown for this Baltimore squad.
This is the first game of Ivory Irvin's 5th season in the SFL. Now, Baltimore has made the playoffs every season that he has been in the league, so he gets a couple of extra games every year. And, of course, he's got 2 league titles, so that's at least 3 extra games every year, right? But he is already top 50 in SFL history in catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. And again, this is the first game of his 5th season. The PAT from Tarkington is blocked. That never happens against Baltimore. Tarkington is almost perfect lifetime in career field goals, and now they've blocked a PAT. You could smell that one coming.
Yeah, and he's upset. You can see him on the field there. Never had that happen to him in his career, at least at all last season, and had that happen now. He's not happy about it.
He made every single field goal that he attempted last season, was one of just a couple of perfect kickers, and he made 30, so it's not like he was not getting any work. And now he gets a PAT blocked. If you're new to the Simulation Football League, nothing is a guarantee. You saw that stop on 4th down on a fake punt. You never know what you're going to see in this league, Eddie, and you've been at this thing a whole lot longer than I have. If there's anything that I've learned in the last 2 calendar years being part of this league, it's that you have to expect the unexpected. You have no idea what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. As a coach, you have to plan for it. You have to anticipate it because you never know when it's going to come. So every play matters in this league. You cannot take off a single down.
London down by 20 with 7 minutes left, but stranger things have happened than a comeback in this situation. Here goes Pickler, right on cue. Mike St. Green sprints by the defense. Ben stacking paper one-on-one. St. Green's first catch of the half, his biggest play of the game.
Yeah, they sent the safety to the boundaries, looking to help on underneath coverage. Mike St. Green acknowledges it. He gives his quarterback the signal, and the ball goes over the top of the defense. And just like that, London flips the field, looking to put points on the board.
It wasn't a perfect ball from Pickler in all honesty, Eddie, but that was his best throw of the game, right behind the cornerback Ben stacking paper, who's already picked him off twice.
Yeah. You see why I said on the throw. He was nervous about it.
Third in passing yards last season, trying to get back to it. There's a dot and a bruising run after the catch by Tiberius Bovine, and that is exactly why you add this guy to your team.
Yeah, the long-standing veteran, had a couple of drops earlier, but he's looking to make up for it and help his team put points on the board. A lot of football left. This game is not over yet, fellas.
London has not scored since the first 5 minutes of game time. Remember, they went up 14-0 almost instantaneously, have not sniffed the end zone since, have barely been across midfield. Pickler throws this way. Now they're across the 30-yard line. Another catch for Mike St. Green down to the 26.
And it stops the clock, which is what London is looking for right now. They're looking to either attack the deep middle or attack the sidelines, get out of bounds, and stop the clock.
Another big catch for St. Green, who had a career season last year playing Robin to Vin Callia's Batman, if you will. Do they even like those guys over in London? Who cares? St. Green was over 1,000 yards for the first time, 10 touchdowns, and also over 140 yards and a touchdown in London's playoff game against Arizona. He was tremendous a season ago. Pickler to throw over the middle. That's caught again for a gain of about 7. Bovine on the catch. Mack makes the stop, but now they are inbounds.
Yeah, they're giving Bovine a lot of attention here on this drive. I think that's his 3rd catch already.
He's been very busy, that is for darn sure. Trying to get him back into the mix. From the 19. Back in the end zone. Whoa, risky throw from Pickler, and that was Elijah Warfield, the rookie there. Giovanni Bolts was there. 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of eligible receivers on that play, which makes it an easier read for the secondary, and he's lucky that ball was not intercepted.
Critical juncture in this game. 3rd down and 3 from the 19, 5:10 left in regulation time. London down by 3 scores. Pickler alone in the gun, the new franchise quarterback for the new look London Knights, trying to engineer a comeback. Pickler swatted an interception. 4th interception of the game for this Baltimore defense. Alvin Mack off to the races. Only one man can stop him. Now he's got a convoy. Alvin Mack all the way to the house. Baltimore will ice it with a pick 6 from the linebacker, Alvin Mack.
And that's his first career pick 6 coming into this game with 9 interceptions. He gets the deflection, picks the ball out of the air, and it seems like it took him about a half hour to get to the end zone, but he got great blocking from his teammates, able to cut off some of those defenders trying to make the play. And Alvin Mack gets his first career pick 6, one more than Hall of Famer Eddie Gage, and Baltimore just broke this game wide open, Tim.
This Baltimore team was built from scratch mid-season in season 15. We talked about off-season turnover. This team had quite a bit of it this off-season. Baltimore had to build its team from the ground up during season 15. Alvin Mack was one of the guys that they signed mid-season. Almost immediately, I remember he had a defensive touchdown with the scoop and score, but you're right, he has not been in the end zone since then. That was one of his first games in the league, if not his first, and now he has his first career pick 6, and that is all but going to wrap things up for the Vultures as they try to get started on their title defense, their 2nd title defense. 41 unanswered, and now the score's inverted.
Wow, yeah. I mean, like you said, London started this game off hot, putting up the first 14 points of the game in about 5 minutes of real time, and since then have been shut out.
You know, the Baltimore offense, they're the prize fighters, right? They're the guys who set the headlines. The offense is really good, but this defense is very good as well. Let's go back to South Carolina, another game break. Cameron Irvine and Mike St. Green.
Thank you, Tim. It's all tied up in South Carolina, Mike.
Yeah, the Predators fought all the way back from 14 down. Lyric Da Vinci here with a touchdown catch, 28 all early in the 4th.
Back to Tim and Eddie. Bonus coverage of this game if time allows, guys.
And Mike, thanks so much. Looking forward to that one. Back underway here from Charm City. Johnny Pickler hooks up with Fox Highwind, just his 3rd catch. Remember, Fox, standout minor league running back, started his career as a wide receiver for the London Knights, spent some time elsewhere, was most recently with Mexico City, now back playing for the London Knights, and he's got his 3rd catch.
Yeah, shocked a number of people in SFL Nation. He was the number 1 wide receiver for a team that almost defeated these Baltimore Vultures, but decided to make the move up over here across the pond.
Right, he's now playing back-to-back games against Baltimore. Mexico City's last game was against the Vultures. Pickler's pass. Your call on who that pass was intended for, Eddie. There were a couple of guys there, but ends up in the dirt. Third down.
Yeah, that pass was intended for Hall of Famer there, Tiberius Bovine. It looks like he got alligator arms on that play, anticipating a hit.
Third down and 4 now from the 30. Less than 5 minutes left in regulation for London. Pickler under pressure. Down he goes again. This London offensive line has had no answer for the Baltimore front. Another sack, this time for Al Walker.
Yeah, and London invested in two tackles for this team, left tackle and right tackle. They are young in their career, so it's going to take some time for them to develop. And until then, Johnny's going to have to be aware of his surroundings and find a way to get that ball off.
His surroundings, there's nobody around him right now. Empty set on 4th down. Pickler zips it. That pass is caught. First down and more. Critical time. London needed that one.
Bovine delivers. Reception.
Yep, move the chains for the first time here in season 18. 4 minutes left. Pickler again. Similar play, similar result. Gain of 13.
90-yard slants, taking advantage of this. That's Mike St. Green on the catch.
Sure was. Another catch for the fourth-year wideout from Houston to the 43 now. Pickler again, another slant route, another catch. That time only good for 7.
Bovine on the reception. It's taking a lot of time off of this clock here.
3 wides now, and Bovine will line up near him. 2nd and 3. Top of the screen. There's Kalia, who is alone up there, down to the 22.
Taking advantage of the single high safety, no help over the middle.
This has been London's best-looking drive. Is it going to be good enough? Pickler over the middle, into traffic, could have been caught. Marvin Himes was the last player to touch it for the Baltimore defense. High wind in the area for London, no dice, 2nd down.
Wow, I'm surprised Himes didn't come up with that one because you can see him looking at it all the way in, and he did all but catch it, bounces right off his chest.
Baltimore now unofficially with 6 total sacks, as well as 5 interceptions. So game plan for TJ and T-Pat. Mission accomplished, I think it's fair to say, Eddie. 2nd down now from the 22. Pickler steps up, throws, back behind the line. Wow, all right. That
was almost an illegal forward pass.
Probably should have been an illegal forward pass, and if Pickler had run it, he would have picked up at least 5. Instead, it's a loss of 1 on a completed catch. 3rd and 11, Pickler all day this time. Fires, pass complete. First down to the 8-yard line. That's high wind. You see a little bit of everything here in the SFL. 1st and goal now. Pickler again behind the line. Kalia makes the catch and loses 5.
Loses 5 yards.
Wow. That won't help his yardage totals. And nearly 1,400 last year. -5 there from the 14. Sidearm throw from Pickler. That'll get some of those yards back. That is Kalia on the catch. So it's a net of, 2 yards on 2 catches. 3rd down and goal now. I'm ticking, though. 2:30 left. Pickler throws towards the end zone. And it's caught. Touchdown, London. Vin Kalia. Yep, he's got his 3rd straight catch, and this time it's good for 6. London needed that one, Eddie, and Vin Kalia, after a 14-touchdown season, he has his first year in season 18.
First here, right here in the game, in week 1 action, and it took a while, but they haven't scored since the first quarter, as you alluded on. But they marched downfield, took a bit off time off the clock than they anticipated. But they get the job done, put points on the board, and if anything, just a moral victory for this offense. They can score against the world champs.
The first time we've seen JT Delaney in a little while. Hold down from Dante DePass, and Delaney, the Baltimore native, the former London Knight, knocks through the extra point. I mean, I was going to say this in the 3rd quarter, Eddie, before we had a fat 0 total points scored in the 3rd quarter, but this was the highest over-under set among all of the 12-game slate by the fine folks at Jack's Data, who do a fantastic job at predicting those things. You can see that in the bottom left corner of your screen. Over-under set at 61.5. That PAT brings us to 62. Here's the onside kick. Hits a member of the Vultures. Who's got it?
Yeah.
London.
I think
London's got the ball.
Yeah, they got the ball.
Jack Russell has had a huge second half.
He has. He's come up a number of ways, but it's going to be a total team effort. What they're going to need come up against these world champion Baltimore Vultures, and it looks like London's going to come up short here today. But You know, it is week one. They don't know what's coming. And as I alluded to earlier, it looks like there's been a change of philosophy here for this Baltimore Vultures offense, but yet and still they found a way to put up 41 points. So what am I to say?
I mean, you never know with week one. That's what I've learned from talking with league veterans like yourself over the years. Week one can often be a complete crapshoot, and sometimes you can just throw those results out the window. As Pickler throws it up and drops that one through a window right to Fox Highwind. London's not done yet.
They are not done yet. They're going up against some backups here in Baltimore, but they're trying to put up numbers anyway.
Getting close to the 2-minute warning. It's now a 20-point game. Pickler back to throw, zips it, and it's caught out to the 23-yard line as we hit the 2-minute warning. London continuing to move forward, but they're down by 20 with only 120 seconds left. This is the SFL on Next Level Sports. Welcome back to Baltimore. Alongside Eddie Gage, I'm Tim Hackett, the reigning league champs, fresh off of a 15 total win season, well on their way to win number 1 here in season 18. 2 minutes left. Johnny Pickler, the new franchise quarterback, trying to spearhead a comeback. Zips it. That's caught for a first down. It'll be first and goal for London, barring this penalty. Fox Highwind with another catch. Here comes the call. This could be important.
I may be wrong, but I think that's going to be a face mask. Oh, it's pass interference. Excuse me.
We've seen a handful of these already in this game, Eddie Gage, and it is against Baltimore. And as you hit into that before the break, backups are pretty much exclusively in for the Vultures. So that is Nate Simmons, one of the linebackers, guilty of that infraction.
Yeah, you can see him hit the receiver. Perhaps it was in the head because I thought I saw his head kind of flinch backwards, but I thought it was passing interference, a face mask. But nonetheless, it's going to be a first down, and it's going to stop the clock for London here as well. Look at this defense.
I've never seen anything quite like it. Pickler with more than 55 pass attempts. Robert Merrill has just 5 carries. London down by 20. Pickler throws wide open. Touchdown, London. Back-to-back scores for the Knights. Tiberius Bovine, welcome to London. His first catch with his new team. First touchdown catch with his new team.
First touchdown catch. You know, it may be against the backups, but it's a touchdown nonetheless. And London is going to, you know, they're right now, extra point pending, 13 points away from tying this ball game up. If they get this onside kick here, things can get really dicey here for the world champs.
And to your point, though, they had to use that. Well, they didn't have to use the timeout, right? But they chose to use the timeout by failing that challenge earlier in this quarter. So if they don't get the onside kick, though, Eddie, now south of the 2-minute warning, this game's pretty much over, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of the game that they played against us, Arizona, in the playoffs last season when we had the game well in hand, and suddenly they scored 28 unanswered points to make things interesting.
That was a 38-0 game at some point. Was it 47-0 at one point as well? Before London's 44, and then London scored all 28 of its points in the fourth quarter. You can't say what you want about these guys, but Johnny Pickler is never going to go down without a fight. You absolutely know that about him, and he's done that here, even though against the backup says it's bobbled again, loose ball, and Baltimore's got it. Wow, the game of pinball falls in the way of the Vultures. Last one, London picked it up. They're not able to go twice lucky, and Baltimore's going to get the ball and be able to ice this game.
Yeah, they got interested in there for a second. London has 2 timeouts remaining, but they're going to burn them here consecutively. But it is like Baltimore's going to run a play. Yeah, they are.
Come out with the stacked formation an I formation now. Wigmore is still in. He will throw it to Hazard, and Hazard is stood up in the backfield. Great one-on-one hit back there. Wow, that would have changed the game drastically.
Yeah, that ball could have easily been intercepted had the defender been looking at the ball rather than the receiver. That could have been a pick six, and things would have really gotten interesting.
I've said it, Eddie. I said it earlier, but you have no idea what to expect in this game. In this league. It was 41-14. It should have been a walk in the park for Baltimore to close out this game, you would think. But you can never think too soon. Baltimore might still win this game, and it might still be comfortable, but it's not going to be easy. Wigmore will throw on 2nd and 13. Here's Hazard. That's more like it. Russell makes the stop, gain of 5, and there is the timeout for London. That's their third.
Third timeout, still outside of field goal range. And London just burned that last timeout. So we'll see if they elect to run and play or take a knee. But I know the head coaching staff on that sideline for Baltimore almost had a heart attack on that first pass attempt. And look, they're going to line up in a shotgun here.
This is crazy. 3rd down and 8. A first down ices it, but anything short of that gives London a shot. 3rd and 8, Wigmore floats it up, and it's caught! Lloyd Graham Jr. with a step behind Wyo, and he's down at the 8-yard line. Baltimore rolls the dice, they pull up aces, and Graham gets him inside the 10.
They pull up aces, but it almost turned to snake eyes. Wyo had come up with that interception. I thought he had a beat on that one. That was a great pass.
I'm mixing up my casino metaphors here, but either way, the house always wins, especially here in Baltimore. They never lose at home, Eddie. They have single-digit losses here in Baltimore in the history of this franchise, and they were motivated to not lose here after going down 14-0 early, and there are the knees coming up from Jack Wigmore. Some pushing and shoving after the play. I don't see that very often here in the SFL. It's still going as they continue to push and shove. Eddie, this has been a thriller of a game. We expected it might. London scores the first 14 and then 41 unanswered from Baltimore to take a stranglehold on this game. Baltimore is going to go to 1-0. Your thoughts on this thriller?
You talked about it. They have 6 career losses at home. 46 wins. That's tops in the entire SFL. They take care of home field. They've done so throughout their career. That's, again, commended to the coaching staff and the front office here in Baltimore.
The reigning league champs are 1-0 to start season 18. 5 touchdown passes from Jack Wigmore, 2 to Ivory Irvin, 2 to Mac Chima, and this fearsome Baltimore offense strikes for 41, bettering their average of 38 that they set last season en route to the championship. 41 straight points paves the way, and the reigning league champs are 1-0 to start their title defense. For Justin Reside and Dwayne Schindler, Cameron Irvine, and Mike St. Green, and my partner, the Hall of Famer Eddie Gage, I've been Tim Hackett. We'll send you out to Charleston, Ramos Lynn, and Charles Doherty, L.A. against the Preds.
Da Vinci gets to midfield, and a timeout quickly by the Charleston Predators. Another 15 yards, and they're going and chucks on 15, Charles. They needed about, I calculated about 50 yards, so they're going 15 and 15. That's 30. They need about 20 more yards.
Yeah, definitely. And so far, neither defense has been able to stop that all slants. Why not just keep going to the well on that? They have one more timeout, right?
They do have one more timeout, which is incredibly important as we welcome you to an exciting finish. You just watched the Baltimore Vultures take care of business 41-28. but this is far from over as TD Drew is going to throw it out of bounds. That's a smart play, Charles.
That's a veteran quarterback for you. I thought that was going to be a clear sack, but shows the strength of Drew. Was able to just throw it out of bounds and save disaster from happening and have to burn a timeout.
To our TV audience, Charleston is down by 3 points. The ball is at midfield. They still have a timeout and 10 seconds to go. They need to get to about the 30-yard line to be in field goal range. Changing the play at the line of scrimmage is going to be TD Drew. Drew, pass, middle, is going to be caught. That's Buchanan Simons, and Buchanan Simons gets to the 38. Now...
a big one.
Yes, now... this will be a 55-yard field goal, and honestly, I'm not so sure. You either A, try to get about 5 more yards through the air, well, they're going to go with Breccia. They're just going to kick it.
Yeah, trust me, that 50, I lost the playoff game, a 55-yard.
Yeah.
I still feel the sting.
You have to think, hey, what's more probable? Do we convert a Hail Mary or do we kick it from 55 yards? And only the coaches know that. The coaches trust Brad Breccia. Breccia's kick is up, and Brad Breccia's kick is short of the goal post as the LA Lycans are going to come with a gigantic win on the road in week 1.
Yeah, just not. I couldn't see the front of that. I think he was a couple yards short, and
yeah,
maybe the wind played a factor on that one. But God, what a heartbreaking way to end the game for Charleston.
We saw it all day, Charles, and I said it, during kicks to that side of the field, the kickoffs were short. All of them were short. All of them just got to like the 8-10 yard line. So we knew the win was against Breccia. It was a great effort, but unfortunately unable to convert as the LA Lycans win by 31-28. What a way to start season 18.
Definitely. I mean, both quarterbacks played their heart out, but Sully Richardson, he made a bunch of mistakes, but 412 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was just constantly slinging it and in rhythm, and when they needed to get down the field and get that field goal to put them up on top, he was firing on all cylinders. And I'm kind of torn between giving the game ball to him or Chris Lee, but I think it's probably going to go to Chris Lee because he didn't have 5 interceptions on him.
Yeah, totally. And it's just telling on how well LA play all around. It's hard to win on the road, first of all. Then when you throw 5 picks, it just becomes that much more difficult. And I think that it was clutch plays on 3rd down, clutch plays inside the red zone that really made the difference at the end of the game.
Well, so the thing is, you get 5 interceptions against you, but Charleston didn't capitalize on them. And hats off to the LA defense. I mean, those safety combo between Colston and Joseph, an interception apiece, they shut it down, and that 3-4 defense of LA was, kept Swearingen from getting, what do you have, like 61 yards? And most of that was in the second half.
Los Angeles beats
Who's your
Charleston
player of the game,
31-28. We'll be back with more SFL coverage. After this, you're watching the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports. Welcome to Sim Football Postgame along with Mike St. Green. I am Cameron Irvine. Your final score, 41-28. The Baltimore Vultures get the win. The defending champs back on top. And Mike, it was an interesting game. London got off to a hot start, but then the Vultures flexed their muscles.
Yeah, Cam, they're just a juggernaut. Once they get rolling, it's just hard to stop this team. I mean, it's the typical stuff that we've seen from them season in and season out. Once they get rolling, they have a way of just overwhelming a team. And then before you know it, you're down 3, 4, 5 scores even, as London found themselves in today. And, the defending champs, they look like they pretty set to try to defend that title this season.
What a thriller! What a thriller in Charleston, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little surprising, the amount of scoring that we saw in that game. Both overs hit. Jack's daddy giving $5 to charity every time an over hits this season, so that's very nice. But Los Angeles, big road win. They get revenge on Charleston. Charleston beat them in the wild card last year.
Yeah, one great thing about opening weekend in SFL, Cam, you kind of don't know what you're going to get. I mean, coaches and organizations, they have tendencies that they like to do and how they like to do things. But, wow, no one expected a 31-28 game from Charleston and L.A. today, and especially considering how the playoff game went last season, very low scoring and tight. But, Davius Reed and Chris Lee had huge games today. Both of the receivers for LA went over 100 yards. Sully Richardson over 400 yards passing. So great offensive day from the Lycans and Charleston. They had a great day as well. The defense played well, putting 28 points up. Keith Swearingen, he had a couple of touchdowns, what we're accustomed to seeing from him. But hey, hope springs eternal on opening weekend.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they could still make the playoffs, and guess what? Even after the tough losses from both teams today, is 11 more to go.
Thanks to Rambos Lynn and Charles Doherty on that call of that game. All right, so here's what is coming up next, Mike. We've got Arizona and Tulsa. We get our first look at Tulsa's number 1 rookie draft pick, the running back Douglas Brown. Arizona made the semis last year, but they have a new look offensively too. Sioux Falls, Louisiana, and bonus coverage as Colin Hart takes on his former team, and we get to see the 2-horse system in Louisiana for running backs. Your thoughts on this next double block coming up?
Yeah, I'll start in Louisiana, Cam. I'm very anxious to see Randy Squarebush and Colin Hart to see how they're going to be used over there with the Revolution going up against St. Louis, a very great defense over there. But, man, our feature game, Arizona, in this game had 2 tough losses in the offseason as far as personnel goes. Right as free agency opened, they lost both their starting receivers from last season. TJ Punk, he is their 3rd wide receiver over there. He's been elevated to number 1. He's been around 4 seasons. I think he's ready to take a step forward. And as you mentioned, the 1st round and 1st overall draft pick, Douglas Brown over there with Tulsa, they're kind of revamping things a little bit, and they hope to get him going and see if the rookie can make a difference for them this season.
Should be a lot of fun, and we've got it all coming up next. This has been your post-game update, and we will be right back with Arizona and Tulsa. Don't go anywhere. It comes your way next on Next Level Sports.